Settle in, dear friend. Let the room be dim and kind. Maybe there is a small lamp beside you, its glow pooling like warm tea across the floor. Notice the quiet edges of evening or the slow hush of early morning if that is where you are. Feel the soft weight of fabric against your skin, the curve of your body greeting the chair or bed. Let the world be ordinary for a while. Shoes near the door, a glass on the table, the faint breath of air across your cheek. Nothing to fix right now. You are welcome exactly as you are. Take a gentle breath and let it lengthen by a centimeter or two. Allow a slower tide on the exhale. There is no correct technique here, only an easy permission. Your shoulders can drift a little lower. Your belly does not need to be held. If it feels right, let your jaw rest so your teeth are not meeting. Let your gaze soften or close. Before we go on, let me know where you're listening from. And if this brings you peace, please subscribe to Calm Buddha Path so more people can find it. Tonight is for tenderness toward the part of you that flinches, the part that believes again and again that you are somehow wrong or too much or forever behind. Shame is clever in that way. It whispers that you can only belong if you shrink. It tells you that being safe means being small. And yet here you are breathing, which is already a quiet refusal. You are choosing presence over the old story. If you like, notice one point of contact that feels stable. The heel of your hand, the back of your head, the line of your spine against the surface behind you. Let awareness sit there like a small candle. When your mind wanders, the candle remains. When a memory rises, the candle remains. When you judge the wandering, even then, the candle remains. We'll be gentle with words tonight. In the old teachings, there is a recognition that pain comes in layers. There is the sting of the first arrow, what happens in life, and then there is the second arrow, the way we hit ourselves for how we feel. Shame is almost always a second arrow, a reflex that says, you should not be hurting, you should not have needs, you should be better by now. The practice we are learning is to put the second arrow down, to let the wound breathe, and to meet it with the three inner powers: compassion, clear seeing, and letting go. Compassion is not a mood. It is a posture toward experience. Tonight, compassion might look like letting your breath arrive as it wants. It might be placing a hand where you feel tightness and not trying to force it open. It might be speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a beloved friend, with no urgency to fix, only a willingness to stay. Clear seeing is the soft light that reveals what shame hides. When clear seeing is present, you notice how a familiar trigger arrives. Maybe it is a message left on read. Maybe it is a meeting where your idea was not named. Maybe it is the quiet of the house after a long day and the thought that you didn't do enough rises like a tide. Clear seeing says, here is the tide, here is the thought, here is the pull to make meaning, and here is the breath that keeps moving even while the story unfolds. Letting go is not throwing yourself away. It is the willingness to loosen the fist around a story. You do not have to fight the tide to let go. You simply step back from the undertow. You stand where the water can wash your feet and return to the sea. If the mind wants to argue, let it. The mind can keep its courtroom. You can choose a garden. In your garden, nothing is on trial. There is a bench and the air smells like something green and alive. You sit there and feel the coolness on your skin. You let the sounds come and go. You do not prosecute your own heart. You listen for the small birds even if you cannot name them. There is a simple way to begin transforming your relationship to shame, and it is softer than you think. It starts with a question that has no edge. When shame appears, you ask, what is needed now? Not what is wrong with me, not how do I make this disappear. Simply what is needed now. A sip of water, a few longer exhales, a walk to the window, a text to someone kind. The question shifts the terrain from punishment to care, and care, as it turns out, is how we grow sturdy. Micro practice. Hand on heart, pause 30 seconds. If it feels right, place a hand over your chest or somewhere that feels safe to touch. Let your palm feel the warmth of your body. Breathe so that the hand rises slightly on the inhale and settles on the exhale. Silently say, I am allowed to be exactly as I am in this breath. If that feels too much, try, may I be kind to this moment. You can stop at any time. The teachings speak often about the middle way, not grasping tightly, not pushing away, simply staying with what is real. Shame is a mixture of craving, aversion, and confusion. Craving shows up as a hunger to be perfect. Aversion shows up as a push against our own tenderness. Confusion shows up as forgetting we are more than our latest mistake. The middle way asks us to stand in the space where none of these is boss. We let the ache be a visitor and we keep the key. I want to tell you a small story. Imagine a potter in a village long ago. She works with a clay that is temperamental and slightly gritty. Her bowls wobble. Her first instinct is to throw them back into the pile and start again, scolding herself for not being steady enough. One evening, an older potter watches her and says, "Your hands are too harsh with the clay you call imperfect." He takes a wobbly bowl and runs his thumb along the rim with a tenderness that surprises her. "See," he says, "this bowl knows it wants to be held. Your task is not to punish the wobble. Your task is to find the curve that fits a human hand." The next day, she fires a few bowls with their gentle asymmetry intact. People love them. They say the bowls feel alive. The lesson is not that flaws are good. The lesson is that life can be shaped with kindness, and kindness reveals form. When shame visits, you can be the older potter to yourself. You can feel the wobble and meet it with a steady thumb. You can ask, what curve wants to appear if I am not harsh? You can rest the piece for a day and return with a warmer heart. If it helps, bring attention down to your feet. Notice the temperature, the weight, the way the floor holds you without asking you to perform. If your thoughts spin, picture the spin unwinding into the ground through your soles. No need for force. Gravity is already on your side. There is a quiet revolution that happens when we stop arguing with our inner weather. You wake on a day when the air in your chest is heavy, and instead of declaring failure, you say, "Heavy today." You choose a softer plan, or you carry the heaviness with a little benevolence. You discover that dignity can sit beside sorrow without diminishing either one. This is not giving up. This is giving up the performance that keeps you away from intimacy with your life. Micro practice, 3-word weather, 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, name your inner weather with 3 simple words. Tired but willing, anxious and breathing, quiet and tender. Say them softly inside. As you name, allow your exhale to be a bit longer. If words feel hard, you can notice color or texture instead. You can pause anytime. Shame is sticky because it borrows your name. It says, "I am the truth of who you are." Clear seeing answers, you are more than this moment, and also nothing needs to be denied. You are not a problem to solve. You are a living process. Seasons change in you. Streams of attention change their course. Trees shed leaves in you and grow new shoots. When identity becomes lighter, shame has fewer walls to cling to. If you are listening while lying down, feel the gentle weight of your body supported by the ground or mattress. Let your breath remind you that you do not have to hold yourself up. The earth is practiced at holding. It has been doing so for a very long time. Sometimes the smallest kindness arrives as a sentence you can believe. Not a grand affirmation, but an honest one. Try this only if it feels comfortable. I am learning to be on my own side. The word learning is important. It gives room for error and patience. It honors growth without demanding spectacle. You can whisper it between breaths. You can say it once and let it echo. There's another skill we'll revisit often, noticing the moment right before you turn against yourself. That micro moment when you sense the urge to hide, to explain, to overwork, to apologize for existing. In that moment, we will practice doing something different. We will practice doing less. A slower exhale, a hand to the heart, a question asked kindly. The point is not to become a saint. The point is to stop abandoning yourself. Micro practice, the kind interruption, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, picture a recent moment when you started to spiral. Pause the frame just before the spiral takes over. Place a gentle breath here. Ask, what is the kind interruption? Maybe it is standing up to feel your legs. Maybe it is sipping water. Maybe it is sending yourself a note that says, staying with you. Imagine doing it. Let your shoulders release a fraction. Open your eyes slightly or soften your brow. You can step away if anything feels too strong. There is a lot we will explore together. We will meet the 3 frictions and the countermoves again, not as theory but as companions that travel with you into dishes and emails and difficult conversations. For now, notice one small sign of ease in your body. It might be subtle, the sense of space at the base of the neck, the way your hands feel warmer, the feeling that you are inhabiting your face a little more loosely. Let that small sign be enough. You are allowed to be unfinished. You are allowed to be in progress and still be worthy of rest. The old habits may visit tonight and tomorrow, but so will this voice that is learning not to scold. You can let the future take care of itself for a while. Sleep will come if it comes. Wakefulness may be here a little longer. Either way, you are practicing belonging to yourself. As we close this first stretch, bring to mind someone who has been gentle with you at some point in your life. A teacher, a neighbor, a friend, a stranger who held a door when you needed it most. Feel how your chest responds to the memory. If it feels right, send a small wish in their direction. May you be cared for. And then, just as quietly, send the same wish inward. May I be cared for. Let the wish rest in the room like a soft light. If you listen closely, there is a thread of trust running through this moment. Trust in your capacity to heal without violence. Trust that shame can soften when met with an open hand. Trust that the rhythm of breath carries wisdom older than every harsh story. You do not need to become someone else to be at peace. You need only to stop turning away from the one who is here. Let your breath be unhurried the way dusk is unhurried, spreading itself across the sky without asking for permission. Let the edges of your attention soften like fabric that has been washed and worn, the kind that knows your skin and stays kind. If you notice the urge to brace or to prove something to your own mind, you can name it quietly, bracing here, proving here. Then loosen the effort by a single notch, as you would dim a lamp when the room already glows. There is a tenderness that does not depend on performance. It does not measure your worth in tasks completed or apologies offered. It touches your life the way morning light touches the side of a building, steady and without commentary. You can offer that kind of tenderness to yourself, not as a reward but as a way of being with what is real. The more you practice, the more you become a place where shame has nothing to grip. If you feel tension anywhere, imagine placing a small, clean towel over that area, not to cover it in secrecy, but to keep it warm while it softens. Warmth is an old language in the body. It says, you are safe to unclench. If warmth feels like too much, imagine a cool breeze moving through, giving space where the tightness lives. You are allowed to experiment until something feels like relief. Sometimes the mind insists that only harshness will keep you from repeating mistakes. It is a familiar myth. Yet when you look closely, what truly helps you learn is not punishment. It is contact with reality without the fog of self-attack. When you meet a difficult moment with steadiness and care, you actually see the pattern, and seeing opens the door to choice. You do not have to become the pattern again. Micro-practice, permission to be 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, rest your attention on the gentle movement of your ribs. With each exhale, whisper inside aloud. If a part of you argues, let the argument pass through like a train in the distance. You do not have to board. You can return to aloud. You can pause any time. As you rest, you might sense the shape of your life held with a little more spaciousness. The obligations are still there. The relationships still ask for care. The world is still itself. But the ground under your feet begins to feel friendlier. You are not standing in a courtroom. You are standing in a home you are allowed to inhabit. The walls are painted with patience. The floorboards know the sound of your step. If sleep is near, welcome it like a kind guest arriving without fanfare. If wakefulness remains, greet it too, like a friend who needed to talk a little longer tonight. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is behind schedule. You can trust that your body knows how to move toward rest when it is treated with warmth rather than warfare. Before we drift, place one small intention on the pillow of your mind. Let it be ordinary and humane. To speak gently to myself in the first minute after waking. To feel my feet fully before I open a hard email. To remember that shame is a visitor and I keep the key. Small intentions are teachable. They fold into daily life without strain. They are the seeds of a more merciful way of being. For a moment, notice the quiet around you and the quiet within you, which may not be silence but a softening of edges. The world can be loud and insistent. Right here, let the insistent world be a little farther away. You are here with your own good heart, learning to offer it room, learning to trust its rhythm. There is time enough. There is goodness here already. May your breath meet you kindly through the night and into the next dawn. May your hands remember how to be gentle with the clay of your life. May your eyes become friends with clear seeing, and your shoulders learn the shape of letting go. And may shame, when it comes, find so much compassion in this house that it has no choice but to soften and slip away. Let the room greet you again, but in a new way. Perhaps there is a quiet tapping at the window, small rain stitching the night together. Maybe the air is cool against your cheeks, the kind of cool that makes blankets feel like a kind friend. A faint hum of a fan, a street lamp pooling gold on the edge of a curtain, the soft creak of settling wood. Notice the way your body yields to support without negotiation. The pillow, the chair, the floor are not asking you to perform. They are content to hold you as you are. Let your breathing find an easy rhythm, like a tide that has learned patience. If it feels right, allow your exhale to lengthen by a heartbeat or two, not forced, simply invited. Notice the gentle movement at the base of your ribs, the way the breath smooths the interior edges. Nothing to get right. Only this unhurried companionship with yourself. Shame often hides in ordinary moments. Not the dramatic ones, but the simple, daily places where you compare and contract. You open a message and see a colleague's polished update, and your chest tightens with the thought that you are late, messy, less than. A child asks a question and you hear your tone turn sharp, and before the sentence even lands, you feel the old verdict forming. You scroll past a photo, a life arranged in neat squares, and suddenly your own life feels blurred and unworthy. The mind reaches for the gavel. The gavel is familiar. Tonight we are practicing another instrument. It is older than the gavel and more useful. It is the gentle bell of clear seeing. When the bell is struck, you remember to look at what is actually here, not the courtroom projections. Chest tightens, thought arises, breath shortens, shoulders lift, eyes narrow. You notice the sequence and awareness slows it down. The bell does not scold, it reveals. There is a story told about a wandering seeker who sat by a river in the stillness before dawn. He had tried extremes, starving the body and then feeding it too richly, chasing approval and then rejecting all company. He could not find a wise rhythm. As he sat in his restless quiet, a boat passed by, and in it a musician tuning a simple instrument. The musician plucked one string wound so tight it almost snapped. The sound was thin and sharp, unpleasant to the ear. Then he loosened it until the string sagged. The sound was dull and lifeless. Finally, he found the middle tension. The note rang warm and true, held just enough to sing. The seeker listened and understood something that words had failed to teach him. The middle way is not a compromise, it is a living calibration. Tonight, you do not have to choose between self-attack and indifference. You can tune your life toward what rings true. Craving shows up as that too tight string, the breath shortened to chase a perfect moment, the jaw set to keep control. Aversion arrives as the too loose string, a collapse into numbness, a disconnection from what matters because feeling it seems dangerous. Confusion is the fuzz between notes, the spinning that makes it hard to know what you are tuning for. Your work is not to banish any of these. Your work is to notice the tension in the system and adjust with kindness. Micro practice. Soft eyes, soft screen, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, imagine the device in your hand or the screen in front of you as a small window rather than a mirror. Let your eyes soften as if you are looking at the horizon beyond the window. Drop your shoulders by a fraction. Breathe as if you are in a field, not a fight. Whisper inside, seeing clearly, holding lightly. If it feels too much, simply look away and find 3 colors in the room. You can pause any time. In daily life, the middle way becomes very practical. You have an inbox that seems like a hill that keeps growing while you climb. One string says, answer everything now, be faster than your fear. Another string says, shut the laptop, disappear, pretend the hill is not there. The tuned string says, choose 3 messages that matter and meet them with full presence, then stand up and drink water. When shame arrives whispering about the messages left, you notice shame as weather and return to the next honest step. The middle way is not glamorous. It is humane. It is how you keep dignity close when systems pull you into overdrive or collapse. Consider the way you speak to yourself after a tender misstep. The child asked for help while you were distracted, and your answer had a hard edge. You see the small wince in their eyes, and shame leaps up to berate you. The too tight string is immediate self-punishment, a harsh litany that calls you unfit. The too loose string is pretending nothing happened, convincing yourself the child is too sensitive. The tuned string feels the sting, acknowledges it, and turns toward repair. You kneel, you meet eyes, you say, I spoke sharply, I'm sorry, you deserve my attention. That sentence is a doorway. You step through and the bond holds. There is a way to build shame resilience that does not require grand gestures. It is built from many small moments of staying. Staying with the body when it wants to hide. Staying with the truth when story wants to dramatize or deny. Staying with care when you are tempted to outsource your worth to the next compliment or the next achievement. The more you practice staying, the less oxygen shame has. It cannot thrive where contact is warm and real. If you like, bring your attention to the sensation of your face from the inside. Notice the weight of the cheeks, the slope of the forehead, the small muscles around the eyes. Let the area around your mouth be a little softer, the tongue resting low, nowhere to go. Your face has practiced so many expressions. It has carried you through days of effort and nights of worry. Offer it neutrality now, as if you are looking out from a quiet cave. safe to watch the world without needing to arrange it. Micro practice. Place the stone down, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, imagine you are holding a smooth stone that represents a self-judgment you often carry. Feel its weight in your palm. Notice how your shoulders subtly adjust to accommodate it. On your next exhale, imagine setting the stone on a small table beside you. You can pick it up again later if needed. For now, place your hand on your leg and feel how your body reorganizes around the emptiness of that hand. Whisper inside, lighter for a moment. If visualizing is difficult, simply open and close your hand slowly and let the closing be the judgment and the opening be the release. You can stop at any time. Clear seeing is not cold observation. It is observation saturated with care. When you notice a pattern, you do so the way you would notice a child learning to walk, with curiosity and encouragement, not with sarcasm. This shift matters because shame feeds on the belief that you are alone and defective. When you observe with care, you discover you are human in a human situation. The problem shrinks to its right size. In relationships, especially with those you love, shame can hitch a ride on the smallest misunderstandings. You send a message that goes unanswered and the story begins writing itself. They are bored with me, I am forgettable, I should stop reaching out. The body believes what the mind rehearses. The breath tightens, the stomach knots, the day tilts. Here the middle way asks for a compassionate audit. What do I know and what am I adding? What do I need and how can I ask for it simply? If it feels right, you send a second message later, the kind without a hidden test. Hey, just thinking of you. No rush to reply. You return your attention to what is here. The mind may protest, but you keep your seat in the present. Sometimes shame wears the clothes of productivity. It tells you that your worth is measured by throughput, that rest must be purchased with receipts. You lie down and immediately hear, lazy, weak behind. You sit up and chase the list, and for a short while shame applauds, then raises the bar again. Tonight we name this pattern without drama. We call it what it is, an attempt to secure belonging by exhaustion. Then we practice another belonging, the kind that does not need receipts. You belong because you exist, because you breathe, because you are part of a world that holds leaves and tides and cities and small lamps, and all of these belong without earning. Letting go in this context is not abdication of responsibility. It is letting go of the false promise that self-attack will keep you safe. It is letting go of the tightness that insists you cannot be forgiven. It is letting go of the constant reenactment of an old story whose author you no longer need to be. When you loosen your grip on that story, your hands are free to build something kinder. If your mind drifts now, let it drift like a paper boat on a slow stream. Each time you notice, you can gently nudge it back toward the feeling of breath in your chest. Not because wandering is wrong, but because returning is the practice. Each return lays down a small path inside you, a path you can find even on difficult days. There is a particular clarity that comes when you bring kindness to what you have resisted seeing. Maybe you have a habit of speaking over your own needs in a meeting, only to feel resentment building later. Maybe you say yes when your body says no. Clear seeing notices the moment the word yes rises out of fear rather than care. It does not condemn you for the reflex. It sits with you while you feel the heat of that fear, and together you consider another sentence. Thank you for asking. I can commit to X by Friday. I am not able to take on Y. The sentence is simple, and simple is powerful. Shame wants you tangled. Clarity wants you free enough to speak plainly. Bring attention, if it feels right, to the sense of gravity in your body. Where does weight collect? Where does lightness live? Imagine the parts that feel heavy being supported from beneath by a strong, quiet platform. Imagine the parts that feel light being gently anchored by a cord of steadiness that runs through your spine. Your body knows how to balance even when feelings are large. There will be days when your history is loud. The old voice that says you must be flawless to be loved will arrive with citations and evidence and a familiar ache. On those days, remember the river and the instrument. Ask yourself, what would it mean to tune toward truth right now? Truth might be, I am tender and still capable. Truth might be, I am tired and will choose one small, honest action. Truth might be, I do not know yet, and I can rest inside not knowing without abandoning my life. Micro practice, 2 degrees of kindness, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, picture a dial from 0 to 10 that measures the kindness in your inner voice. Wherever it is set right now, move it by 2 small degrees toward warmth. Not from icy to blazing, just 2 degrees. Let your next sentence to yourself be 2 degrees softer. You do not have to sustain it forever. Try it for 3 breaths. If it feels too much, return to neutral and simply feel the contact of your back or your hands. You can pause anytime. When you start to live with this gentler tuning, something interesting happens in the ordinary friction of the day. Traffic is still traffic, but it is no longer evidence of your failure to plan. A missed deadline is still a missed deadline, but it becomes information and a conversation rather than a character indictment. A friend's mood is their weather, not your job to fix and not your fault to absorb. This is not complacency. This is competence uncluttered by cruelty. As you settle deeper into the room, notice one sound at the far edge of hearing. The smallest sound counts. Maybe a distant car, the click of a cooling pipe, a bird that has lost track of the hour. Let that sound be a reminder of scale. You exist in a vast field of happenings, and your experience is one noble part of that field. Everything is not about you. This can be a relief. It means your worth is not at stake in each moment. It means you can respond, not perform. If sleep wants to enter now, hold the door open with a quiet welcome. If wakefulness wants to keep you company, let it sit beside you without a lecture. Either way, practice the sentence that gives shame little to hold on to. I am on my own side. Not against anyone else, simply for your own steadiness. This is how resilience grows roots. Before we close this part, let us visit one more ordinary scene. You are about to open a difficult message, the kind that tends to set off the inner alarms. In the past, you might have braced your whole body without noticing, lunging forward with the breath trapped. Tonight, you pause, you feel your feet. You allow one calm breath to finish. You imagine the string and choose the middle tension. You remember that your response can be decent even if you feel waves inside. You open the message and read it once. You let the first reaction pass without declaring it the truth. You read it again, listening for what is actually asked. Then you choose language that is clear and kind. You send it and place a hand on your leg to remind your body you are still here. A small thing, yet that small thing rewires a path. You are learning to be light with yourself without floating away. You are learning to be strong without hardening. You are learning that shame can visit and you can still set the table for compassion, clear seeing, and letting go. These are not decorations. They are tools you can hold in your hands while cooking dinner, while answering messages, while tucking someone in, while tucking yourself in. Rest a little more now. Feel the blanket gather around your shoulders or the air move gently across your skin if blankets are not your thing. Let the breath come in like the tide at night, sure of itself, not looking for applause. You did not have to earn this moment of peace. You only had to stop turning away from it. The bell has been struck. Its gentle note is still ringing. May you sleep if sleep is here. May you rest, even if wakefulness lingers. May your tuning grow more exact and more merciful with each ordinary day. And when shame tries to tighten the string until it sings with pain, may you remember the river, the boat, the musician, and your own steady hands. Let us arrive again, but differently. Picture the kitchen at the edge of evening, the sink empty now, a single cup drying on a towel. The refrigerator hums like a soft bass note. A cool night breeze moves through a cracked window, carrying the hint of something green outside, maybe damp soil after a light shower. Somewhere in the house, a clock ticks without hurry. Feel the gentle weight of your body where it meets the seat or the bed, the floor offering its quiet strength beneath it all. Let your attention settle the way a snow globe settles after a shake, flakes drifting down, a still scene slowly appearing. Allow your breathing to find you rather than you chasing it. Notice the easy slide of air at the nostrils, the way your sides widen slightly, the way your back expands like a small sail catching a steady wind. If it feels right, soften the space behind your heart, as though a window there has been opened to a kind night. No need to perform calm. Let calm come to you as it pleases. Tonight we lean further into a simple, sturdy truth. You are not your worst moment. Shame will try again and again to reduce you to a headline about failure. It will tell you that the whole story is a single clumsy sentence, the one you regret, or the tired snap at someone you love, or the day you did not show up as you meant to. But your life is not a headline. It's a long, generous book, chapters full of ordinary kindnesses and attempts and learnings. The work is not to pretend the painful page didn't happen. The work is to keep reading with compassion and clear seeing, so the next paragraph can be written in a wiser hand. Clear seeing asks for contact with reality. Reality includes the body, so bring your awareness, if it feels right, to the contact of your hands. The texture of skin on skin or skin on fabric, the tiny sway that happens when you breathe. This is not small. This is a doorway. When you feel the body, you step out of the courtroom and into a room with windows. A common trap is to wait for permission from an imagined future before offering yourself respect now. When I finally fix this habit, then I'll stop being harsh. When I achieve this, then I will deserve rest. This is craving in a shiny jacket. It pretends to be motivation, but it is a leash. The counter move is to practice immediate dignity. Dignity does not excuse harm. It gives you the stability to repair it. Dignity does not ignore weakness. It lets weakness learn without being shamed into secrecy. In ordinary terms, immediate dignity is the way you hold your shoulders when you are wrong, the way you breathe when you say, "I am sorry, and I am still worthy of being here." Micro-practice, standing dignity 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right and safe, stand or imagine standing. Let your feet find the ground. Allow your knees to be unlocked, easy. Lengthen upward through the back of your head as though a thread gently lifts you, while your tail drops like a pebble sinking in a calm lake. Without puffing the chest, allow the breastbone to float a centimeter. Whisper inside, "I can be kind and accountable." If this feels like too much, you can stay seated and simply picture your spine remembering its natural curve. You can pause anytime. There is a small story I love because it is so human. A woman lost a precious ring somewhere in her home at night. She panicked, then noticed light spilling onto the street from a lamp and went outside to look under it. A neighbor found her on her knees, searching. "Where did you lose it?" he asked. "Inside," she said, "but the light is better out here." We laugh because we recognize ourselves. We search for our worth in the bright places, in numbers, in polished updates, in proof, even when we know the loss happened in a quieter room. Clear seeing invites us back inside to the place where we actually misplaced ourselves. The light might be dimmer there, but the ring is inside, not under the street lamp. Where, for you, is that inside room? Perhaps it's the moment after a conversation when you replay every word with the speed and judgment of a courtroom stenographer, hoping to re-edit reality. Perhaps it's the hour after a risky creative step when you lunge for distractions to outrun the possibility of having mattered. Perhaps it's the space before bed when the day's unsolved knots pretend to be the truth about you. In each of these rooms, shame loves to switch off the light. Our response tonight is old and dependable. We switch it back on, gently, without fanfare. How? By naming what is present without insult, by letting breath stay longer than the story, by choosing a small action that honors the next honest step. Often that step is repair. Sometimes it is rest. Sometimes it is asking for help. Sometimes it is letting go of the argument you were never going to win with yourself. Let us bring this close to daily life. You forgot a friend's birthday even after telling yourself you would remember this time. Shame arrives with a costume rack. Bad friend, unreliable, always this way. Clear seeing arrives with a broom. Yes, I forgot. What can I do now that reduces harm and tells the truth? You write a genuine note without drama. You put a reminder in a place your future self will actually see. You notice the urge to spiral and you choose a kinder sentence. I missed it. I care. I'm learning to be more reliable. The body loosens because it trusts that you are taking a real step, not performing regret to earn forgiveness. Micro-practice. The honest next step, 30 to 45 seconds. Think of something you are avoiding because shame says you've already failed. For 3 breaths, bring the situation into the room without adjectives. Then ask softly, what is the next honest step that reduces harm or increases care by 1 notch? Decide that step. If safe, picture yourself doing it. If your body tightens, place a hand where it tightens and say, 1 step is enough right now. You can stop at any time. Another trap is what I'll call identity glue. This is the stickiness that turns, I skipped a workout, into I am undisciplined, or I struggled in the meeting, into I am not a leader. The glue is made of repetition plus emotion. The countermove is to speak in verbs, not nouns. Verbs describe motion and allow change. Nouns stick. Tonight, when shame declares a noun, try answering with a verb. I am learning. I am practicing. I am repairing. I am resting so I can try again. Identity becomes lighter when you live in verbs. Feel your breath again, but in a different way. Track a full cycle from the beginning of the inhale all the way to the end of the exhale. Then rest in the tiny pause that follows before the next breath begins on its own. That tiny pause contains a whole education. Things complete themselves when not forced. You can let sentences end. You can let one moment finish before you jump into the next with a verdict. Sometimes the body keeps the score of old shames by bracing in predictable places. The neck, the belly, the jaw. If it feels right, let your attention visit each of these like a kind neighbor dropping off a bowl of soup. No lecture, just the warmth of presence at the door. The neighbor doesn't fix the house. They bring food and stay long enough to remind you that you live in a street where kindness is normal. Your attention can be that neighbor tonight. We have talked about craving, aversion, and confusion as the 3 frictions. Let's watch them in a simple scene. You are composing an email to ask for a fair adjustment after you were overlooked. Craving wants perfect language and perfect timing and perfect certainty of outcome. Aversion wants to delete the draft and convince you none of this matters because asking feels vulnerable. Confusion blurs the issue and makes you question your own memory of events. Clear seeing names each friction without letting any be the boss. Compassion reminds you that your worth is not on trial in this message. Letting go loosens the need to control the response. You write in plain words. Here is what happened. Here is how it impacted me. Here is what would make it right. You send it and step away from the screen to feel your legs. Not heroic, just human and steady. Micro practice, plain words, 30 to 50 seconds. Bring to mind a situation that has you tangled. For 3 breaths, strip away qualifiers and justifications. In a sentence or two, speak inside in plain words what is true and what you ask for or what you will do. If it helps, imagine a trusted elder standing beside you, nodding as you keep the language simple. If plainness feels edgy, return to the feeling of your hands and let that be enough. You can pause any time. There is a well-known teaching about a woman whose child died. In her grief, she begged for a cure that would bring him back. A wise person sent her to collect a single mustard seed from a house where no one had known loss. She searched from door to door and everywhere found stories of grief like hers. She did not receive the seed she asked for. She received a different medicine, the knowledge that sorrow is part of human life and that she was not isolated in it. The story is not about erasing pain. It is about loosening shame's narrative that suffering is proof of defect. In the language of our practice, the woman's clear seeing widened until her identity was not just the mother who failed to keep her child, but a human among humans in the river of gain and loss. From that wider identity, compassion could flow again. Let this widen you a little tonight. Whatever you carry, the apology you owe, the career detour that embarrassed you, the relationship you are grieving, countless others carry something like it. Not to minimize it, but to hold it in the light of belonging. Shame shrinks in that light because shame depends on secrecy and specialness. You are not uniquely broken. You are ordinarily human. That is good news. Ordinary humanity comes with tools and companions. If you want, place your awareness on sound again, but this time choose a friendly sound very close, your own breath, fabric whispering with your movements, the soft tap of your thumb against your index finger. Let that sound be your little bell. Each time the mind begins the old monologue, you hear the bell and come back to what is true in the room. Another everyday place shame hides is in comparison dressed as inspiration. You watch someone speak with clarity and grace, and instead of feeling sparked, you feel the dull ache of not enoughness. The mind tells a quick story. They have permission to be here, I do not. Clear seeing interrupts. Admiration is not a verdict against you. It can be a teacher. Compassion adds, of course you long to be seen. You are a social being. Letting go releases the fantasy of immediate transformation. You ask, how can I practice 1 inch of that clarity in my next conversation? 1 inch matters. Accumulated inches become a path. Micro practice. 1 inch forward, 20 to 40 seconds. Bring to mind someone whose skill wakes up longing in you. Name 1 small inch of their way that you can practice in the next day, a pause before answering, a plain sentence, a steadier posture. Imagine doing it in a real moment. Whisper inside, 1 inch is enough for now. If this feels activating, return to the anchor of your breath and let the practice go. You can pause any time. I want to speak to the part of you that is tired of trying, that hears the word practice and feels a kind of quiet rebellion rise. That part is wise too. It has carried you through seasons when just waking up was an achievement. So let's agree on something humane. Practice is not one more standard to fail. Practice is the act of turning toward life kindly when you remember and turning toward yourself kindly when you forget. That's it. No points, no scorecard. Just the blessing of return. If sleep begins to tug, let yourself drift. If wakefulness keeps you company, keep company with it in a warm way. Notice how much of your life becomes workable when you stop demanding that you be someone else before you can breathe. Notice the small, concrete ways you already care: making food, sending a message, pausing before speaking, stepping outside to look at the sky even for a moment. These are not small in the economy of a sane life. They are the bricks of a steady house. Return to your body once more before we close this part. Feel the width of your back. Let your belly be as it is. Consider the miracle of organs you never have to manage. The heart keeps time without your permission. The lungs are generous beyond any story you tell. Even the restless mind is trying to protect you in its clumsy way. When you see this, compassion becomes less a performance and more a natural response to the effort it takes to be a person. To end, let us practice a tiny repair together, not with another person this time, but with yourself. Think of a moment from earlier in your life that still stings, a time you made a choice that you would not make now. Without re-entering the scene fully, let a kinder version of you stand beside the old you. Imagine that kinder one placing a hand on your shoulder and saying something simple and true. You were trying to belong. You did not have all the tools. I'm with you now. Feel the breath move as you offer this repair. You are not erasing the past. You are adding companionship to it, and companionship changes the meaning of pain. Micro practice. Companion the past 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, repeat the small repair above with a second memory even more briefly. If it stirs too much, step away and return to the feeling of your feet or the cool air near your face. You are in charge of the pace. You can pause anytime. Let the night or the quiet hour you're in share its patience with you. The world outside will continue turning, cars passing, leaves stirring, messages traveling across invisible networks. Inside, you are allowed to move slowly. You are allowed to let shame's sentences dissolve like sugar in warm water, leaving only the clear liquid of what matters: care, clarity, and the courage to release what you cannot carry. May your shoulders learn the slope of ease. May your inner voice remember verbs. May the ring you thought you lost under a faraway lamp be found again in the honest room of your life. And may you keep writing, paragraph by paragraph, a story in which you are not reduced to a headline, but recognized as the whole, breathing book that you are. Let morning arrive inside you, even if outside it is still night. Picture a pale wash of light at the edges of a curtain, the kind that makes the room feel like a shell holding a gentle sea. Somewhere a kettle might be beginning to murmur, or perhaps there is only the small hush of your own movements. The air is cooler near the window and warmer under the covers. Feel the place where your back rests, the exact shape of support. Let your breathing slip into that support the way a river finds its bed. No rush, no heroics, just the quiet intelligence of water taking its path. Allow your exhale to lengthen by a blink or two. Let the inhale arrive like a tide returning. If your attention wants to wander, that's a sign of life, not a failure. Bring it back with the same softness you would use to guide a child across a crosswalk. No tugging, just presence. We have been looking tenderly at shame, and tonight, or this early quiet morning, we turn toward a practice that can lift its weight from inside. I want to talk about the art of repair and its cousin, release. Together they weave a life that is sturdy without harshness. Many of us grew up with the belief that repair requires self-condemnation, that to make amends we must first fracture ourselves. But condemnation is not the same as accountability. Condemnation freezes, accountability moves. We are learning movement. To anchor this, bring to mind a small misalignment from the last few days. Not the hardest thing, just something slightly off. A message you ignored, a promise you postponed, a tone that came out sharper than your heart intended. Notice what your body does when you hold it in view. A tightness in the throat, a drop in the belly, the shoulders trying to float toward the ears. Name it gently, throat tight, belly low, shoulders lifting. When you name, you add light without adding blame. Shame wants you to declare a final, punishing identity. I am careless, I am unreliable, I am unkind. Clear seeing invites another route. It says, there was a misalignment between intention and action. I can meet it. Compassion stands beside you while you meet it. Letting go will help you not to carry the raft after you cross the stream. There is an old teaching about a traveler who finds a river in flood. He builds a raft from branches and twine, paddles across with effort and relief, and reaches the far bank safely. The traveler thinks, this raft saved me. I must carry it everywhere. He hoists it on his back and staggers down the road, burdened by the very thing that helped him. The wise ones ask, would it not be better to lay the raft down when it is no longer needed? We smile because we see our own habits. We build rafts out of strategies that once protected us: perfectionism, over-apologizing, vanishing our needs, working until we disappear, and then we carry them into seasons where the river has already been crossed. Repair asks, what is the kind action now? Release asks, what raft can I set down? Micro-practice, tiny repair, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose one small misalignment you named. For 3 breaths, let the body soften around it. Then decide one concrete act that moves toward repair by one notch: a text, an honest sentence, a calendar reminder, a gentle "I'm sorry, here's what I'll do next." Picture yourself doing it in the next 24 hours. Whisper inside, movement not punishment. If anything feels too intense, return to the sensation of your hands and let the exercise go. You can pause anytime. Everyday life offers a steady stream of chances to practice this. You promised yourself an early night, and then you fell into the quicksand of scrolling. The old raft appears: harshness, vows of total self-control, lists of rules, and the river is crossed before you notice. Clear seeing says, I was tired and looking for soothing in a familiar place. Compassion says, of course you reached for relief. You're human. Accountability says, what can I try tomorrow that begins earlier, that actually feels like relief? Letting go says, I'm setting down the raft of self-shaming now. It is heavier than it is helpful. Maybe tomorrow's relief looks like 2 minutes of standing under the night sky before you reach for the phone, or one call with someone whose voice steadies you. Small changes with kindness stick. Drastic changes with cruelty tend to boomerang. Bring attention to your spine for a moment. Imagine it as a quiet column of light, not rigid, not collapsed, gently alive. Let the back of your neck lengthen as the chin softens, as if you're saying yes to the horizon. This posture is not about correctness. It's about signaling safety to a body that has so often been scolded from the inside. When the body senses kindness, it lets you approach the hard topics without shutting the door. Here is a simple scenario to watch with soft eyes. You make a mistake at work, an error in a sheet, or a missed attachment. Shame wants an immediate performance, panic, a flurry of messages, an apology that condemns your entire character. The middle way offers a steadier choreography. First, breathe on purpose, a single complete cycle. Second, state the reality in plain words to the person affected. I missed the attachment on that last email. Sending it now. Third, add a small prevention step without ceremony. I'll use a quick checklist before sending similar messages. That's it. No self-flogging, no essays about your worth. Repair, then release. Dignity is not the absence of error. It is the presence of wise response. Micro-practice, plain repair sentence, 30 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, craft one simple sentence you could use in the next week when you err. Keep it specific and clean. I spoke too quickly and cut you off. I'm listening now. Or I miscalculated the budget line. Here is the corrected figure. Repeat it once inside and notice how your body responds. If it tightens, place a hand on your chest and soften the exhale. You can pause anytime. Shame often keeps us from repairing because it says we do not deserve reconnection, or because it tells us we will be annihilated by the other person's response. This is where compassion becomes brave. Compassion does not guarantee outcomes. It promises presence. You cannot control whether your apology is received how you want. You can control the care with which you deliver it and the care with which you hold yourself afterward. This is the countermove to craving certainty and the countermove to aversion to discomfort. Let us speak of another arena, the body and its story. Many of us carry old judgments about our bodies, judgments inherited from families, screens, cultures that forgot how to kneel at the altar of aliveness. Shame says the body must be corrected before it can be cherished. Clear seeing says this is a living animal who has carried you through storms. Let's be honest about its needs and tender with its limits. Repair might look like nourishment on time. It might be rest before collapse. It might be talking to a professional when appropriate. Release might be letting go of the raft called the old number, the old genes, the old story of who you were before the world asked so much of you. If memory brings up old moments of being criticized for your shape or your needs, offer the body a little benediction now. Whisper, "Thank you for carrying me. Thank you for telling me the truth through sensations when my mind was confused. I'm learning to listen." Feel what changes when gratitude is invited to the table. Micro practice, listening body 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose one area of your body that calls for attention, not the loudest, just one that you can meet kindly. Rest a hand there or place your focus there. Ask, what do you need within the next hour that is honest and doable? Water, stretch. A temperature change, a posture shift. Choose one response. If no clear answer arrives, that is okay. The listening is already a response. You can stop at any time. There is a habit some of us learned, the apology that erases us. We say sorry as a way to preempt judgment, to shrink before anyone can ask us not to. It becomes a reflex, a way to buy temporary safety at the price of self-respect. Tonight we practice a wider vocabulary. Sometimes true repair begins with "I'm sorry, and here is how I will make it right." Sometimes true repair begins with a boundary. "I can't take that on, but I can help with this piece." Sometimes it begins with silence and a breath so you don't apologize for existing. The point is not to stop saying sorry. It is to let sorry mean something honest. Consider a conversation at the end of a long day. A partner or roommate asks a question that lands with a thud in your tired chest. Aversion flares, you want to retreat or strike. Confusion tells you the relationship itself is broken based on this moment. Watch the frictions. Then breathe once and name the actual state. "I'm worn thin and not hearing things clearly. I care. Can we pause 10 minutes and try again?" This is repair in progress. You are not fixing the whole forest tonight. You are watering one dry root. Let's return to the raft teaching in another form. You may have built the raft of hypervigilance to cross a river in your family or early life. It kept you safe to scan for tone shifts, to overread faces, to sprint toward fixing. Thank the raft. Then ask, is the river here now? If not, set the raft down for a few minutes and feel what it's like to stand on land without equipment. The ground is solid. Your body can lower its guard by one notch. If the river appears again, you know how to build a raft. You are not helpless, but you do not need to carry it through the meadow. Micro practice. Thank and set down 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, identify one protective habit that overworks in your life. Whisper a quiet thanks for how it helped before. Then for 3 breaths, imagine placing it on a low table beside you. Not in the trash, not denied, set down. Notice what happens in your shoulders and jaw when you are not holding it. If you feel exposed, bring your attention back to your contact with the floor or chair. You can pick the habit up later if needed. You can pause anytime. Repair also means repair with your time. Shame tells you that because you lost an hour to distraction, the day is ruined and you should surrender it to more numbing. The countermove is to reclaim the smallest next block, 10 focused minutes, 1 chore, a gentle walk to reset the nervous system. The humble act of re-entering the day through a small door builds trust with yourself. Trust is the quiet opposite of shame. Shame says you are fundamentally unreliable. Trust grows when you keep a promise that is lovingly sized. Bring your attention to sound, not distant now, but mid-range. The kettles click, the fridge hum, a bird correcting its path. Let one sound be your ally. Each time the brain offers an old insult, use the sound as a bell and return to the present choice, repair or release. Do I take a step or do I set something down? The brain will argue for both at once. You get to choose which serves this moment. You're allowed to be imperfect in your choosing. Life is forgiving when effort is honest. Sometimes repair is with the self you were this morning, or last year, or 10 years ago. Perhaps you stayed in a situation too long because leaving felt like betrayal. Perhaps you left too quickly and now rewrite the story in both directions. The wiser path is to meet that earlier you without the weapons you used to meet yourself back then. Offer them context instead of contempt. They did not have the map you have now. They were moving as best they could with what they knew. The repair is not time travel. It is the present-day act of ceasing to prosecute the past. Micro-practice. Release the gavel 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, imagine the inner judge holding a gavel with your name etched into the handle. Watch the judge set the gavel down on a bench for the space of 3 breaths. You don't have to smash it. You just don't reach for it. Notice the sensation in your chest when the gavel rests. Whisper, I can choose care and clarity here. If this visualization feels sharp, replace it with the simple act of lengthening the exhale by a count or 2. You can pause anytime. As you breathe, consider the quiet courage it takes to live this way. To repair when you can, to release when you must, to keep your dignity low and steady like a lantern you carry, not a spotlight you aim at yourself. The world often rewards the drama of self-attack because it looks like sincerity. But steady kindness plus clear action is the deeper sincerity. It teaches those around you that growth doesn't require humiliation. We will close this part by practicing a very small evening ritual that feeds repair and release at once. Imagine a little bowl by your bed or on your desk. Each night you place 3 pebbles in it, 1 for each of the inner powers. You name 1 way compassion showed up today, 1 moment of clear seeing, 1 instance of letting go. Some days the pebbles will feel obvious. Other days you will search and find only the smallest grain of sand. Both count. Over time, the bowl fills, and so does your quiet memory that you are not the person shame says you are. You are someone who is practicing. Micro-practice, 3 pebbles, 60 seconds. If it feels right, look around the room for 3 small objects or imagine them. A coin, a button, a paperclip. Assign them now. Whisper what each stands for today. Compassion, I let myself rest without a receipt. Clear seeing, I noticed the moment I wanted to over-explain and instead paused. Letting go, I closed the tab and stepped outside for 2 breaths. Put them in your mental bowl. If this is too much, choose 1 pebble only. 1 is enough. Feel the room again. The pale light. The kettle that may have quieted by now. The way the air touches your skin. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a life to be companioned. Repair when you can. Release what you cannot carry. Set down the raft when the river is behind you. And if you find yourself knee-deep in water again, you will remember how to gather branches, how to tie knots, how to climb in with a brave heart and cross. May your breath be your oar. May your kindness be your compass. May your clear seeing keep you honest and free. And may shame's voice grow thin in a house where movement is chosen over punishment and release is honored as wisdom. Let the evening deepen around you like a lake holding stars. Maybe a soft triangle of lamplight rests on the wall, or a quiet hallway stretches out with a line of shadow and glow. Feel the coolness near your cheeks and the warmer pocket where your hands rest. If you are tucked in, notice the slow bloom of warmth where blanket meets skin. If you are seated, feel the seat take your weight, no questions asked. Let your attention arrive the way birds settle onto a branch at dusk, not rushed, not dramatic, just sure. Allow your breathing to widen a little, as if the ribs are gently opening windows on both sides. Let the out-breath lengthen as it wishes, not by force but by permission. Imagine the air leaving with a tiny bow and the next breath entering as a welcomed guest. If the mind wants to multitask, you can smile at its enthusiasm and give it something simple to hold. The subtle rise, the subtle fall. That's enough. Tonight we'll meet a tender habit that fuels shame beneath the surface, making everything personal. A colleague forgets to CC you, and suddenly the story is that you don't matter. A friend replies later than you hoped, and the story becomes that you are forgettable. A stranger's face tightens on the sidewalk, and somehow you are the cause. Personalizing is exhausting. It's also lonely. It forces every random wave into the shape of your worth. There is another way to stand in the surf. There's an old river story that points to this. A person sat in a small boat, drifting in mist. Another boat bumped into them with a thud, startling the ribs and flaring irritation. They spun around, ready to fight, and saw the other boat was empty, floating with the current. The anger drained away because there was no one to aim it at. The next day the person wondered, what if yesterday's bump had also been an empty boat, even if someone had been in it? What if I don't have to take everything as an insult to me? The river kept flowing, and the person kept practicing. The lesson is not to deny harm or excuse carelessness. It's to notice how quickly the mind writes you into every weather pattern. In shame's economy, everything is proof of a flaw. In clear seeing's economy, many things are boats moving with currents you didn't create. When you practice seeing empty boats, your nervous system saves energy for the places where your care can actually reach. Micro-practice, empty boat breath 30 to 45 seconds. Bring to mind a recent bump, an overlooked message, a curt tone, a door not held. For 3 breaths, picture it as an empty boat carried by a current you didn't start. Whisper inside, not about me, not against me. If that feels untrue, try partly about me, mostly about weather. Feel your shoulders drop a fraction. If any of this tightens you, step out of the imagery and rest attention on the contact under your legs. You can pause anytime. This shift from personal to spacious changes ordinary life. You are in traffic, late, and a car cuts in. The old reflex is a verdict delivered to both driver and self. The tuned response names the facts. A car moved quickly into the lane. My chest surged. I am safe. I will breathe once before choosing my next move. You still use your blinker and your boundaries. You simply stop feeding the fire that says every move is about your worth. Another familiar scene. You share a piece of work and hear nothing for hours. Shame writes a screenplay in which everyone has already judged you and moved on. Clear seeing writes a sentence. People are in meetings, their inner weather is their own. I can decide what to do with this hour. Compassion adds a kind touch. This is hard for me. Waiting tugs on old threads. I'll make tea and do one human task. Letting go unhooks you from refreshing the page like it owes you oxygen. Let's sit with the body again, because the body is the first to hear the courtroom gavel. If it feels right, gently soften around the eyes, loosening the muscles that try to predict danger by squinting into the next moment. Let the tongue rest low in the mouth, as if thanking it for all the words it has carried. Notice the small warmth where your hands meet each other or a blanket. Warmth is evidence of life cooperating with you. It has nothing to prove. Sometimes personalization sneaks in as a kindness strategy. You assume others' moods are your fault because you hope it means you can fix them. It's an old raft, built when control felt like safety. Tonight we thank that raft for getting you across many rough waters. Then we ask if this river truly needs it. Often, the most loving move is to let someone have their weather while you keep your umbrella steady. Micro practice, weather check 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, think of someone whose mood you often absorb. For 3 breaths, separate what is yours from what is theirs. Yours, the tightness you notice, the care you feel, the choice for your next small action. Theirs, their stories, their history, their chemistry, their choices. Whisper, I can care without carrying. If this brings a wave, return to the sensation of your feet or the sound nearest you. You can pause anytime. There is another side to personalization, the inward jab after small slips. You forget a minor task and stab yourself with a headline, I always mess up. Noticing this is a doorway to identity lightening. The move is gentle. Instead of I am careless, try I missed that step this afternoon. Instead of I am a burden, try I'm needing support tonight. Verbs and time of day soften the cement. When identity is not a trap, growth becomes possible again. Consider a simple home scene. Dishes pile up. You feel the drag of shoulds. The mind tries to make it a referendum on your worth. Clear seeing cuts the debate. There are dishes. I have 10 minutes of energy. I'll wash what fits into 10 minutes and leave the rest without shame. You turn on warm water. You stack bowls like small moons. Your breath steadies with the rhythm of rinse and set. In the process, you discover something healing, not the sparkling sink, but being a person who treats ordinary tasks as a place for mercy. Another daily doorway is held in the first minute after you wake. Shame loves to swoop in there with a catalog. Before it arrives, you can offer a tiny ritual that sets a different tone. Feel your hands. Name one thing you appreciate about the bed, the air, the chance to begin. Let your first words to yourself be simple and true. Gentle start. That minute is not a trick, it is a compass. It points you toward a day where you don't have to battle your own heart to move. Micro practice, first minute promise 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, decide now what your first sentence to yourself will be tomorrow. Keep it believable. Try beginning again kindly or one honest step at a time. Imagine waking and placing that sentence like a warm cloth over your morning. If imagining agitates you, let it go and return to the breath that is here. You can pause any time. Let's talk about the social spaces where shame likes to hide, especially in the land of polished updates and tiny glowing screens. You open an app and see a tidy square of someone's high point, and an ache rises so fast it names itself as truth. Clear seeing reminds you that these squares are museum exhibits, curated and well lit. Your life is a studio with drafts and mess and work in progress. Museums are lovely, studios are alive. When you remember this, the comparison softens. You can enjoy a friend's exhibit and then return to your messy easel without apology. In meetings, personalization appears in the quick move to disqualify yourself. A question is asked that you could answer, yet you swallow your voice because you imagine the room waiting to pounce. If it feels right, practice another choreography. Before the question finishes, feel your feet. Allow a longer exhale. Pick one sentence you can say in clear language. Speak it without preamble. Let silence after it be your ally instead of your enemy. Shame will tell you to explain and over-explain. Clear seeing will invite you to stop after the period and breathe. In that breath, you become a person who trusts that their voice can land. Micro practice. One clean sentence, 30 to 50 seconds. Think of a context where you tend to shrink. For 3 breaths, craft a single plain sentence you could speak there. Keep it short, concrete, gentle. Hear yourself say it in your natural voice. If your chest tightens, place a hand there and let the next out-breath be slightly longer. You can pause any time. Now a small tale to point the way. 2 monks walked a muddy road after rain. At a swollen crossing, a woman stood stranded in her fine clothes. One monk, without ceremony, lifted her, carried her across, set her down, and kept walking. Hours later, the other monk said, "We are not supposed to touch those we vowed to avoid. Why did you carry her?" The first replied, "I set her down at the riverbank. Are you still carrying her?" The teaching is simple. Carrying ends when we set something down. Shame is a carrier. It keeps old scenes on our shoulders long after the moment has ended. Tonight, we practice the skill of setting down. Setting down does not mean forgetting or pretending. It means letting the past be a past scene and the present be a living room with air you can breathe. You can remember, you can repair, and you can refuse to reenact the punishment that no longer protects you. When you set down the old scene, you free your arms for what is here: a child's question, a paragraph to write, a pan to stir, a body that wants to rest. Bring the practice into a tiny friction point, an email you regret sending quickly. The shame reflex wants to carry it all day like a hot coal. The setting down move looks like this. You acknowledge the sting, you send a brief follow-up that clarifies, you note a new habit, drafting difficult messages in a notes app before sending, and then you put the coal down. If your hand reaches to pick it back up, you remind it that the coal does not need more holding to cool. Micro practice, set it down gesture, 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, curl one hand as if holding a small stone. Name a recent moment you keep replaying. On the next exhale, open your hand and let the imaginary stone rest on your lap or the table. Whisper, "Down for now." Feel the difference in your forearm. If it helps, repeat once more. If this brings heat, step away from the image and look for 3 neutral colors in the room. You can pause anytime. We have visited craving, aversion, and confusion often because they're honest companions. Watch how they animate personalization. Craving craves being central, even to blame. Aversion pushes away the discomfort of uncertainty by grabbing a familiar self-attack. Confusion blurs the edges so you can't tell what is yours to carry. The antidotes move like water over rock. Compassion says, of course you want a clear story. May it be kind. Clear seeing separates weather from worth. Letting go releases your grip on the plot, where you are always the problem. If you are lying down, feel the way your whole back makes a map of your support. If you are seated, trace the contact points like stars, heels, thighs, sit bones, lower back. Let the map remind you that gravity is your ally. You don't have to lift yourself to earn the right to rest. The earth knows exactly how to hold you, even when your mind is not sure. You might notice how shame's volume drops when you do one quiet thing well enough. Not perfect, just well enough. You fold a shirt slowly and it becomes a small meditation. You give your pet fresh water and it feels like a blessing you get to deliver. You delete 3 emails that do not deserve your life. You step outside for half a minute and let the sky recalibrate your scale. Well enough is a radical kindness in a culture that loves spectacle. Well enough keeps you human. Before we close, let's prepare a little pocket line you can carry into the next awkward moment. the kind that would usually trigger self-blame. Make it short and portable. Try, "Be light here," or "Not a verdict," or "Choose care now." It doesn't have to sound poetic. It has to feel like something you would actually say to yourself when the hallway feels too bright. Micro practice, pocket line 15 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, settle on your line now. Whisper it once. Imagine the next small bump and placing the line between you and the old reflex like a soft hand on the door. If you can't choose a line, borrow mine for tonight, not a verdict. You can pause any time. Let the room be itself again, unarranged by your worries. The lamp spilling its triangle, the hum in the distance, the way the fabric remembers your shape. You are allowed to take up this space. You are allowed to be a person who doesn't make every wave a personal storm. You are allowed to set people down at the riverbank and keep walking with a lighter step. May your breath keep opening windows in the ribcage. May your mind learn the relief of empty boats. May your hands practice the art of setting down what is not yours to carry. And when shame knocks with a story that centers you as the problem, may you listen for the river and choose, again, to float where kindness guides the current. Let the night air feel a little wider, as if a window is cracked just enough for a quiet breeze to slip in and lift the edges of the curtain. Maybe you turn your pillow to the cool side, or you simply notice the way fabric remembers the shape of your cheek. Somewhere beyond the walls, a distant city rhythm goes on, a car coasts, a dog answers, then the street returns to its steady hush. Inside, your body knows the furniture of this room by heart. The doorway, the lamp, the cup on the table. You are safe enough to soften. Let your breathing arrive like a friend who does not knock, who uses a familiar key and steps in with an easy smile. If it feels right, lengthen the exhale by a heartbeat and let the inhale come when it wants. Notice how the shoulders respond to this permission. Notice the soft sway in your belly as if a boat were tied in a gentle harbor. You do not need to perform a single thing right now. You are not a project. You are a living room at ease. Tonight we visit your inner voice, the one that wants you safe and sometimes mistakes safety for self-attack. Shame often wears that voice like a mask. It says it is preparing you, improving you, keeping you from future embarrassment. But improvement that begins with contempt rarely lands as wisdom. It lands as tension, and tension shortens your life to the length of your next mistake. We are going to offer this voice a new job description. Less prosecutor, more guardian. Less insult, more information. Less verdict, more guidance. A simple place to begin is to notice tone. Not the words, yet tone. You know how someone you love can say your name in a way that makes your body loosen even before you understand their sentence. Your inner tone can do that for you. When the old script starts, "Why did you do that? What's wrong with you?" Pause and listen, not for content but for music. Is the music tight, cold, rushed? Could you change the key? Even 5% warmer changes the chemicals in your chest. Warmth does not lie about consequences. It speaks like a friend who plans to stay. Micro practice. Change the key 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, recall a recent sentence your mind used to scold you. Keep the sentence but change the tone to something you would accept from a beloved elder who tells the truth without sharpness. Whisper it once in that voice. Notice your breath. If this feels edgy, let the words drop and only keep the warmer tone as a hum in your chest. You can pause any time. There's a story from the life of the Buddha that serves here, told simply and without miracle. On the night he resolved to sit until he understood suffering and its end, the legends say Mara arrived, not a supernatural demon for our purposes, but a name for inner disturbances, doubt, craving, aversion, the parade of old stories. They offered him distraction and fear. He did not fight the parade, he touched the ground. The earth, witness to countless lives, was invited to testify, "I belong here as I am." The parade did not vanish in smoke, it lost the power to define him. Touching earth is a posture more than a tale, a way of remembering that you do not need the critic to prove your right to exist. Try a small version of this in daily life. You send a note that matters, and immediately the inner prosecutor begins cross-examining. Too strong, too soft, too late, too soon. Before you edit yourself into emptiness, feel your feet. Touch something solid. Say inside, "I belong here as I am." Then you can edit if needed from dignity, not from panic. The difference is everything. Micro practice, touching earth 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, place one palm on a surface, floor, chair, mattress, even your own thigh. Let the weight travel through the palm as if you are setting down a suitcase. Whisper inside, "I belong here as I am." Stay for 2 more breaths. If that phrase is too strong, try, "I am allowed to be here." If any of this tightens you, withdraw the hand and let the practice go. You can pause any time. The critic loves perfection because perfection keeps you busy. If you are busy polishing, you are less likely to risk being seen. Craving rides this current, promising a life without friction once you get it right. Aversion plays its part by flinching from the awkward in-between, the half-finished, the voice clearing its throat. Confusion fogs the windows so you cannot tell when good enough is already good. Clear seeing is the antidote that wipes a small circle of glass and asks one honest question: what is the purpose here? When purpose is remembered, perfection often becomes unnecessary ornament. Consider the email you keep rewriting. If the purpose is to move a conversation forward with respect, then plainness will do. If the purpose is to perform worth, no number of drafts will satisfy. Shame thrives in purposeless polishing. Dignity thrives in remembering why you are speaking at all. Micro practice. Name the purpose 30 to 40 seconds. Bring to mind a task you're overworking. For 3 breaths, finish this quiet sentence. The purpose here is, then ask, what is the simplest action that serves that purpose? Decide it. If your chest tightens, let the next exhale be longer and give yourself permission to stop after that one action. You can pause any time. Let us talk about boundaries as an act of compassion, not a courtroom move. Many of us learned boundaries only as walls when we were desperate. We waited until resentment boiled over and then we slammed the door, and shame told us we were too much. Boundaries can be gentler and sooner. They are simply the way you protect what lets you be kind, your sleep, your values, your attention. A soft, early boundary prevents the harder one later. A daily version looks like this. A colleague pings you past your agreed hours with quick questions that cost you the evening's peace. The prosecutor wants to prepare a speech, the avoider wants to ghost the thread, and confusion wants you to say yes while seething. Clear seeing writes a sentence: "I log off at 6 to be fully present in the morning. I can respond tomorrow." Letting go releases the need to be liked in every moment. Compassion remembers that you are caring for both of you by being clear. Micro practice, 2-breath boundary 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, imagine a request you want to decline or shape. Take 2 gentle breaths before you answer. On the first, feel your feet. On the second, speak a short, kind sentence that protects your energy. I can help with A, not B. I'm available tomorrow. I can do 30 minutes, not an hour. Notice your body as you phrase it. If heat rises, place a hand where it stirs and soften the exhale. You can pause any time. Shame often argues that boundaries are selfish. Clear seeing replies that resentment is what grows when boundaries are absent, and resentment is unkind to everyone. Identity lightening helps too. Instead of "I am selfish," try "I am practicing new ways of caring." It's a practice, so it will wobble. Wobble is a sign of growth, not of moral failure. Let's revisit the middle way in the land of effort. On one side, pushing until you vanish. On the other, opting out until life shrinks. The tuned string creates a rhythm of engaged rest, periods of focused presence that end before depletion, plus moments of real pausing that do not require collapse. Shame hates this because it cannot find a stable case against you when you live in rhythm. It prefers extremes, overwork, or avoidance, because both produce evidence for its argument. Rhythm starves shame of its favorite fuel. Try a small rhythm tomorrow. A 50-minute work window with your phone far away, followed by 5 to 10 minutes of direct body care, stretch, step outside, water, breath. If 50 is too much, try 20 and 2. It is not the numbers, it is the respect. Respect for your finite attention, respect for your body's need to reset, respect for the work's need for a clear mind. Micro-practice, respect the rhythm, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, decide on one small rhythm container for the next day. Name its length and its care on both ends. Whisper it once as a promise to yourself, not a threat. If promises feel heavy, call it an experiment. Experiments allow learning without shame. You can pause anytime. Now to a tender tangle, approval. Most human hearts want it. Approval is not a crime. It is a mammal asking, "Am I safe with you?" Trouble comes when approval sits in the driver's seat. Craving chases the yes, aversion panics at the hint of no, confusion forgets your own values in the chase. Shame weaponizes the whole dance. They didn't praise me, therefore I am nothing. A kinder map keeps approval in the passenger seat while values steer. Values are your chosen north. Honesty, care, courage, steadiness, creativity, service. When you let values drive, praise is pleasant and criticism is information, but neither defines your route. Micro-practice. Values first, 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose one value you want to lead the next conversation or task. Name it quietly. Then finish the sentence. If I let this value guide me, one thing I would do or say is picture doing it. If you feel a tremor, let the exhale lengthen and imagine someone you trust nodding, not because you're perfect, but because you're oriented. You can pause anytime. The inner prosecutor will ask, "But what if I get it wrong?" You will. You are human. Repair awaits. We've practiced it. The point is not to become untouchable. It is to become reachable, reachable by your own care, reachable by the truth, reachable by others who want to meet you. Shame barricades, practice builds porches with chairs. Another everyday scene. Sleep is thin and morning arrives like a visitor you are not ready to host. The critic rushes in with a report on your expected failures. Try a tiny countermove. Sit at the edge of the bed. Feel the soles of your feet. Choose one generous sentence to begin the day. Small steps count. Drink water. Open a curtain. Let light fall on your face for 10 seconds. You will not fix the world before breakfast, but you will have taken the role of guardian over prosecutor. Guardians help you do the next kind thing. Prosecutors keep you busy defending your existence. Micro-practice. Guardian's first task, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, decide your first 2 minutes tomorrow. Feet. Water, light. One sentence. See them like stones across a shallow stream. Step to the first stone and let the rest come when it comes. If planning stirs anxiety, release the plan and return to the weight of your body right now. You can pause anytime. We have spoken of personalizing, and now we add its cousin, catastrophizing, turning a bump into a prophecy. A message from a manager becomes a career ending, a quiet friend becomes a rejection, a missed workout becomes the end of your health. Catastrophizing is shame's fast-forward button. Clear seeing's tool is a smaller lens. Ask, what do I know for sure today? What can be done that is sized for today? Let tomorrow's problems be met by tomorrow's you, who will be wiser by a day. Letting go is not passive in this frame, it is strategic. You put down the future you cannot carry yet so you can lift the present that needs your hands. The pot on the stove, the dog that needs a walk, the paragraph that will exist if you begin the first line, the call you can make. Shame says you must prove you can carry everything. Dignity says you can only carry what is here, and that is honorable. Micro-practice, today's edges, 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, name the edges of today. Where does your responsibility begin and end in the next few hours? Within that fence, choose one living task. Do it with presence. If your mind races outside the fence, notice and gently herd it back like a kind shepherd. You can pause any time. When the critic softens, some people worry they will lose their standards. Standards are not born from insult. They are born from care. You keep your promises more reliably when you respect the one who is keeping them. You create better work when you are not busy convincing yourself you are a fraud. You repair more quickly when you are not hiding from your own glare. Kindness is not the opposite of excellence. It is the soil it grows in. Return to your body now. Let your face hang like a mask that has been taken off after a long play. Feel the weight of it. The jaw unclenching by 1 degree, the forehead smoothing, the small muscles around the eyes resting from their scanning for once. Place a hand anywhere that feels right, chest, belly, arm, and let it be heavy in a comforting way, as if you are anchoring yourself to yourself. I want to offer you one more pocket move, good enough send. It applies to messages, to drafts, to acts of care. When you have met the purpose and you feel the temptation to endlessly polish from fear, you breathe once, you touch earth, you remember your value leading the wheel, and you send. Not recklessly, responsibly. Then you set it down. What you save in rumination, you invest in recovery or in the next honest step. Micro-practice. Good enough send, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, imagine a piece of work sitting at 90%. For 3 breaths, measure it against purpose, not perfection. If it serves, whisper send. Picture yourself pressing the key or placing the object or saying the sentence. Then picture your shoulders dropping as you turn toward rest or the next small task. If imagining triggers urgency, slow down, release the image, and return to the rhythm of your breath. You can pause anytime. As we settle this part, listen for one gentle sound in the room or just beyond, a fan, a far car, the hush of your own breath. Let it remind you of scale again. You are a person inside a world that does not require you to be a statue. The river moves whether you scold yourself or not. The earth bears witness without handing you a citation. You get to practice being on your own side, not as a treat after achievement, but as the ground of your life. May your inner voice learn the steady timbre of a guardian. May your boundaries arrive early and kind. May your hands remember the warmth of touching earth. May your standards grow from care rather than fear. And when Mara's parade shows up with its noise and mirrors, may you smile, feel your feet, and let the earth answer for you that you belong here, breathing, learning, and free to keep choosing the next merciful step. Let the room be a small harbor. Maybe there is the faint scent of soap from earlier, or the clean smell of cool air moving under the door. The light is low, not announcing itself, just enough to soften edges. Feel the cushion or mattress meet the shape of you, the gentle give and return. Let your awareness arrive like a boat gliding into its slip, ropes easy, no hurry to disembark. Nothing needs to be proven to be real. Allow your breathing to settle into a quieter tempo. You might notice the breath rising in the back body as if a curtain lifts slightly, then draping down again with the exhale. If it feels right, widen the base of your ribs on the in-breath and let the out-breath flow a fraction longer, like pouring warm tea back into the pot. Let your jaw hang a little looser. The tongue can rest like a small animal sleeping. Tonight is about practice as companionship, not as a checklist, not as an argument winner, but as small, living gestures that change how shame lands in you. We will gather a few simple forms and let them become personal. Think of them as cups you can fill with whatever your day brings. The cups are sturdy, the contents can vary. Let's start with the practice of befriending the moment you most want to avoid. The first hot seconds after a mistake or a hint of rejection. That is when shame sprints. We will meet it sooner. With a choreography your body can remember even when your mind is spinning. Micro practice, 3 anchors and a choice, 45 to 70 seconds. If it feels right, rehearse this now. First anchor, feel both feet or the points of contact you have with support as if you are checking your laces before a run. Second anchor, find one sound and let it be a bell, even the hum of a room counts. Third anchor, name one sensation without commentary, heat in cheeks, flutter in belly, tight throat. Then the choice. Whisper inside next kind step and do one small action that reduces harm or increases care by 1 notch. If this stirs too much, drop the steps and rest in the first anchor only. You can pause anytime. This choreography brings in our 3 inner powers without fanfare. Compassion says, of course it burns. Here is a hand on the wound. Clear seeing says it is heat in cheeks and a thought, not the story of your life. Letting go says take the next kind step and release the rest for now. Like an instrument you have tuned, it won't stay in tune by accident. It likes gentle attention. But each time you play it, your nervous system learns a path home. There is a quiet trap that clever minds fall into, analyzing shame to defeat it. The analysis can be brilliant and exhausting, and meanwhile your body waits at the door for a simpler kindness. Tonight we'll balance thought with micro movements that speak the body's language and give the mind less to carry. Micro practice. Shoulder bridge of ease, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right and your body allows, lying down, press feet lightly and lift your hips 1 or 2 centimeters, tiny. Just enough to notice your back lengthen, then lower slowly. Do this 3 times, each time letting the exhale soften your belly and your jaw. If lying down isn't accessible, seated or standing, roll your shoulders forward, up, and back in a slow circle twice, then let the shoulders drop. These simple motions signal safety more directly than an essay. If anything feels uncomfortable, stop and return to noticing your breath. You can pause anytime. A story for this night. A teacher poured tea for a visitor whose cup was already full. He kept pouring and the tea spilled over the rim. The visitor protested. "Like this cup," the teacher said gently, "you are full of your own opinions. How can I show you anything unless you first empty your cup?" We'll borrow the story without turning it into a scold. Emptying the cup here means loosening your grip on the explanation you use to beat yourself. Not to become vacant, but to make space for a fresh way to meet the moment. Where do you notice your cup overflow? Maybe just after feedback, maybe when you look in a mirror, maybe when you open a tracking app, maybe when a loved one's silence feels like a verdict. The old explanation arrives on cue: I am failing, I am too much, I am not enough. Emptying the cup is a simple, embodied move. Exhale longer, feel the contact under you, name 3 literal facts, then ask for the next merciful step. Facts loosen fantasy. Mercy changes momentum. Let's rehearse the 3 frictions again, because repetition here is loving. Craving wants the perfect sentence, the perfect timing, the perfect you. Aversion wants to turn away from the awkward halfway, the bruised ego, the unfinished. Confusion fogs the difference between what happened and what you fear it means. You don't win by force. You meet each friction with a countermove sized for humans. Craving meets release, good enough for purpose. Aversion meets compassion. Staying with 5% more of this is safe enough. Confusion meets clarity. 2 plain facts and 1 next step. Micro-practice. 2 facts, 1 step, 30 to 50 seconds. Think of a current knot. State 2 facts in simple language without adjectives. Then decide 1 next step that a decent friend would recommend. Whisper the step once. If the mind argues, let it talk in the background while your body feels the chair. You can pause any time. Practice becomes durable when you weave it into boring places. Boring is a blessing, low stakes, frequent repetitions. Try the sink. Every time you turn on water, allow 1 breath like a small bow. Try thresholds. Each time you cross a doorway, let 1 footstep be slower, the exhale slightly longer, a tiny reminder that you carry your house inside you. Try screens. Each time you unlock, check for the bell of clear seeing. What am I here to do? When shame does arrive, it lands in a room already furnished with small kindnesses. There's a home scene that trains courage kindly. You are cooking and the oil pops and your body startles. In the same way, a message pops and your body startles. The wise cook adjusts the heat, steps back for a second and then resumes. They do not throw the pan across the room and they do not put their hand in the oil to prove something. Adjust, step back, resume. Courage minus drama. Micro-practice. Adjust, step, resume 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, imagine opening a prickly message. First, adjust, straighten your spine or soften your belly. Second step, look away for 1 breath or touch the table. Third, resume, read once without verdict, then again for what is actually asked. If this feels artificial, pick a simpler place to rehearse. Adjust the kettle, step to the window, resume what you were doing. You can pause any time. Identity lightening is ripening in you. You've been practicing verbs over nouns. I am learning, I am repairing, I am resting, and the glue of shame loosens. We can add another thread. Roles as hats, not skin. Parent, partner, manager, friend, artist, caretaker, student, hats you wear and set down. Hats deserve care, skin doesn't come off. When a moment goes poorly in a role, a hat can be adjusted without scarring the self. This shift makes repair easier and panic smaller. Micro-practice, hat on hook, 25 to 40 seconds. Bring 1 role to mind, especially one that carries pressure. Picture placing that hat on a peg near the door for the length of 3 breaths. While it hangs, you are just a breathing being in a room. After 3 breaths, choose whether to pick it up again with a lighter hand. If the image feels silly, simply lower your shoulders and let your face soften. The result is the same. You can pause any time. Sometimes shame hides inside kindness, a kindness that runs on fumes until it resents and collapses. We practice the version of kindness that includes you. It is not self-first or self-last. It is the kind that understands systems. If you are a well, generosity is the bucket. Maintenance of the well is what keeps the bucket useful. Compassion without maintenance is a sprint with no shoes. So we practice maintenance without drama. Water before caffeine. A midday stretch even when the list is loud. A boundary set early. A bedtime ritual that doesn't wait for exhaustion to force it. These are not luxuries. They are the engineering of a steady life. Shame will call them indulgent. Clear seeing calls them fuel. Micro-practice. Maintenance minute, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose 1 60-second act you can install tomorrow, truly 60 seconds. Stand by a window and look far. Roll your ankles. Write 1 line to your future self. Put out tomorrow's cup. Place a glass of water beside your bed now. Speak the choice out loud if you can, as a promise to the part of you that forgets you matter. If the promise feels heavy, call it a try. You can pause any time. We will take a gentler turn into the past, but with care. Many of us learned in small and big ways to expect love after a performance or to brace for correction more than to relax into welcome. The body remembers these equations. We are not forcing healing. We are introducing new equations through repetition. Welcome before performance. Curiosity before correction. Contact before content. A brief exercise for this. The 10-second welcome. Not a performance, not a mantra shouted over pain, simply a short warmth at the entrance to any task. Micro practice. 10-second welcome, 20 to 40 seconds. Before you start something you often dread, a bill, a message, a chore, place one hand somewhere neutral and say quietly, "You can be exactly as you are for 10 seconds." Then begin. 10 seconds is small enough to be believable. The nervous system learns that tasks are not ambushes. If this stirs resistance, shrink it to 3 seconds or skip it entirely tonight. You can pause any time. Here is another short tale. A monk sweeping leaves is asked by a visitor, "Why sweep if more leaves will fall?" He smiles and says, "So the path can be seen for now." Shame is very good at saying, "Why bother, it will return." Practice answers, so the path is visible today. We sweep not to freeze the garden, but to walk it with less stumbling. The next gust will come. We will sweep again softly. This is how a path becomes a path, by being walked. Bring your awareness to your hands again. Your hands are the most honest reporters. When you practice with your hands, placing, setting down, touching, pausing, the rest of you follows more easily. Touch the fabric or the wood or your own skin with the same care you wish someone had offered you on a hard day. That care is yours now to give. Micro practice, friendly touch, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, choose a spot, forearm, cheek, the back of a hand, and rest your palm there as if greeting a good friend. No fixing, no kneading, just warmth. Whisper a simple line inside, "I'm with you." Notice if breath changes. If it's too much, simply hold your own hand loosely. You can pause any time. Let's return to speech, because speech is where shame often snags us. You can preface a boundary with a kindness without diluting it. You can state a need without a courtroom brief. You can take a pause mid-sentence without apologizing for oxygen. Practice one of these tonight so it is ready when you need it. Micro practice, pause permission, 25 to 40 seconds. Imagine someone asks you something that stirs heat. Practice saying, "Give me a breath to think," then actually take it. Or, "Let me get back to you by tomorrow." Hear your own voice sound unhurried. If that feels impossible, imagine writing it instead. The point is to install the option to slow time. You can pause any time. As the room grows quieter, notice what has softened. It might be small, a single thread of your brow released, a ½ millimeter more space under the breastbone, a slightly warmer hand. Small is how the nervous system trusts. Small plus repeated is how lives change. Before we close, place a gentle intention somewhere in tomorrow you can find. Not a grand vow, a compass nudge. Something like, "Speak one clear sentence," or "Notice one empty boat," or "Set down one raft I no longer need for an hour." See yourself at a doorway or a sink or a screen, remembering. Not perfectly. Remembering is an art of returning. May your practice be a friend and not a judge. May your cups empty just enough to receive what matters. May your hats rest on hooks when the day is done. May maintenance be honored as wisdom, not dismissed as indulgence. And may you keep sweeping the path so you can see it tonight. The simple ground under your feet, the next kind step, the steady house of a life lived with mercy. Let your arrival be simple tonight. Imagine a window slightly open, the night air moving like a slow river across the sill. Perhaps you hear a scooter pass and fade, or the hush of leaves adjusting themselves in the dark. The room has its own small constellations, a folded sweater, a book waiting, a glass half full. Let your body settle as if gravity were an old friend taking your bag at the door. You don't need to carry anything for a while. Allow your breath to be unremarkable and kind. Feel the soft expansion along the sides of your ribs, the little settling that happens after the exhale completes. If it feels right, loosen your brow by a thread and let the space behind your eyes feel dim and wide. Your jaw doesn't have to hold your day anymore. Your shoulders don't have to guard the doorway. You are at home. Tonight we turn toward the common traps, the tight corners most minds find again and again. Perfectionism, people-pleasing, procrastination, rumination, and the quick spark of anger that sometimes follows shame. These are not failures of character. They are understandable adaptations, strategies built by a clever system trying to keep you safe. We are going to reframe them with compassion and clear seeing, and practice a few moves that let you choose differently without violence against yourself. Begin with perfectionism. Craving often wears perfection's clothes. It promises safety through flawlessness. The email that cannot be misread, the home that cannot be judged, the body that cannot be criticized, the self that cannot be rejected. Perfectionism's secret cost is that it postpones belonging. You keep your life on layaway until the mythical day when nothing can be questioned. Clear seeing offers a gentle trade, purpose over polish, sincerity over spectacle. Letting go loosens the fantasy of control. Compassion holds the part of you that thought perfection was the price of love. Micro-practice, good enough for purpose, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, bring to mind one thing you're polishing past usefulness. In 1 or 2 plain sentences, name the purpose: to inform, to connect, to care, to move a project one step. Ask, what is the smallest version that serves that purpose honestly? Imagine stopping there. Whisper, served, not performed. If this stirs anxiety, lay a hand on your chest, lengthen the next exhale, and you can set the practice down. You can pause anytime. People-pleasing is perfectionism's social cousin. It's not the same as kindness. Kindness includes you. People-pleasing erases you so others won't leave. Aversion is hiding in it, a push against the discomfort of standing in your own preference. And confusion blurs the line between generosity and self-abandonment. We reframe it as pattern, not identity. You're not a doormat. You're a caring person practicing boundaries that allow real care to last. Micro-practice, kind no, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, rehearse a short sentence that protects you without spikes. I can't take that on, but I can do this. Or I'm not available tonight, or I need to think and get back to you tomorrow. Say it in your natural voice. Feel your feet. If heat rises, place a hand where it does and let the exhale lengthen. You can pause anytime. Procrastination is not laziness, it's a shield. Often it is shame's smoke alarm. If I don't start, I can't fail. If I delay, I can stay in fantasy a little longer. Craving feeds it by demanding perfect conditions. Aversion fuels it by making the first inch feel unbearable. Confusion whispers that you need motivation before action. The reframe is gentle. Action breeds momentum. Tiny, honest starts are acts of courage, not proof of deficiency. Micro-practice, 1 honest inch, 40 to 60 seconds. Choose a task that's been waiting. Set the bar at 1 inch. Open the document, wash 3 dishes, write the first line, gather the receipts, lay out the shoes by the door. Do the inch and then stop on purpose. Whisper progress over punishment. If stopping feels wrong, set a second inch. If the body resists, step back to breath and try again later. You can pause any time. Rumination looks like effort, but it's a treadmill. You spend energy without moving. Craving seeks certainty. Confusion keeps asking the same question in different costumes. Aversion avoids the vulnerability of simple action by substituting analysis. The reframe is to switch from courtroom to field work. Field work is one testable step in the real world. Micro-practice, test in the world 45 to 60 seconds. Name the loop you're stuck in with 2 facts and no adjectives. Then choose one small experiment that will give data. Send one clarifying message. Ask one direct question. Try a 15-minute version. Afterward, rest before interpretation. If the thought storm grows, place attention on sound for 3 breaths. You can pause any time. Anger after shame is common. When the inner whip is too much, it flips outward. Anger can be holy, a clear response to harm, but shame-fueled anger often aims at the nearest person, including you. Reframing begins with location. Where does heat arrive in the body? What is the wish inside the flame? To be seen, to matter, to be safe. Compassion names the need without insult. Clear seeing chooses the smallest statement that honors both truth and relationship. Letting go releases the fantasy that the other must fix your old wound tonight. Micro-practice, heat to honesty 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, recall a recent flare, name where the heat lives now. Place a hand near that place. Ask, what is the wish inside this heat? Practice a clean sentence that starts with I want to be included in decisions, or I felt dismissed in that meeting, or I need 10 minutes before we keep talking. If your body tightens, step back and focus on breath. You can try the sentence later or not at all. You can pause any time. These traps often travel together. Perfectionism delays a task. Procrastination grows. Rumination plays defense. People-pleasing says yes to something you don't want. Anger sparks at yourself or someone else. Shame uses the mess as evidence. Breaking the chain at any link is enough. You don't need to dismantle the whole machine tonight. One link at a time is a revolution in slow motion. Let's bring this into ordinary life. You are about to post something you worked on. The perfectionist wants 16 more edits. The ruminator invents what strangers will say. The people-pleaser aims the content toward imagined approval. The procrastinator suggests tomorrow when the stars are better. The reframe: choose the purpose. Make one edit that truly serves it. Feel your feet, breathe once, and press send. Then, because letting go is a muscle, you set a tiny post-send ritual. Fill your water, step to a window, or touch the door frame. Ritual tells the nervous system, this moment had edges. We cross them kindly. Another scene, a friend cancels plans twice. The old chain says you must be boring. You overcompensate by offering lavish flexibility, or you snap with a hidden accusation. The reframe honors reality and your dignity. You send a simple note, I miss you. Let's pick a time that works for both of us. If your season is full, we can pause and revisit next month. You keep contact without self-erasure, and you keep your evening without bitterness. Bring your attention to the body again, because reframing without embodiment can float away. Soften the back of your tongue. Allow the weight of your head to be held by the support beneath it. Feel the warmth in your hands and let that warmth be evidence of your aliveness, independent of any task. Shame tries to make your worth conditional on performance. Your blood refuses that contract every moment, transporting care without asking you to earn it. Micro-practice, body votes first 30 to 45 seconds. Before you choose a response to a tricky moment, ask your body for a vote, not a speech. Do you lean forward, backward, or settle? Do you feel open, tight, or neutral? Let the vote inform your next inch. If no signal appears, let that be fine. Choose the kindest small action that fits reality. You can pause anytime. We can use a short parable to loosen catastrophizing, the trap that turns a bump into a prophecy. A farmer's horse ran away. Neighbors said, "Bad luck." The farmer said, "Maybe." The next day the horse returned with 2 wild horses. "Good luck," said the neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. Then the farmer's child fell while riding and broke a leg. "Terrible luck," said the neighbors. "Maybe," said the farmer. Soon, soldiers came to conscript the youth of the village. The child was excused. The story could go on. Our point is simple. The mind loves immediate verdicts. Reality keeps unfolding. Maybe is not indifference, it is wise patience. It lets you act on facts without imprisoning yourself in forecasts. Micro practice, maybe mind 20 to 35 seconds. If it feels right, bring to mind one current unknown. Whisper maybe, then name one immediate care-filled step that does not depend on the future. Rest, ask, prepare, wait. Let your shoulders drop a fraction. If maybe feels slippery, try not sure yet and return to the next honest inch. You can pause anytime. Another trap is measurement mania, counting every gesture to see if you deserve to rest. Craving wants numbers to prove worth. Confusion mistakes tracking for transformation. Reframe rest as maintenance, not reward. Maintenance lets compassion last and clear seeing stay bright. The engine doesn't owe you a spreadsheet before you give it oil. Micro practice, unconditional minute 30 to 45 seconds. Pick 1 minute in the next day that is rest with no receipt. Sit, look at the sky, close the laptop and place a palm on your chest. This is not a prize, it's a tune-up. If guilt rises, notice it as weather and let the minute finish anyway. You can pause anytime. We'll touch the trap of self-comparison too. Comparison isn't always poison, it can show possibility, but shame turns it into a ruler you hit yourself with. The reframe moves from envy as indictment to envy as information. What value is being lit up in you when you feel that ache? Connection, freedom, expression. Use the ache as a compass, not a cudgel. Micro practice, envy to value 30 to 50 seconds. Bring to mind someone whose life moment stirs longing. Ask, what value does this illuminate? Name 1 inch toward that value available to you this week. Schedule it or speak it. Whisper, compass, not cudgel. If it tightens, leave the image and return to breath. You can pause anytime. It helps to install fail-safes, gentle structures that catch you before the spiral deepens. A reminder on your phone that says 1 clean sentence. A sticky note near the sink that says yes to maintenance. An agreement with a kind friend. If I text the word loop, please mirror back 2 facts and 1 next step. These are not admissions of weakness. They are signs that you respect your mind enough to design for its tendencies. Micro practice. Design 1 catch 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose 1 small fail-safe you can set in the next 24 hours. A recurring reminder, a paper note, a pre-drafted message to yourself. Keep it compassion-colored, not scolding. Imagine meeting it on a rough day and feeling helped, not policed. You can pause anytime. As you practice reframing, identity becomes lighter by necessity. You stop calling yourself a procrastinator and start describing what happened today. You stop calling yourself an imposter and start naming skills you're practicing. You stop calling yourself broken and start noticing where care changes your trajectory by a few degrees. A few degrees, held over time, changes an entire route. Return to the room. The quiet, the slight movement of air, the trustworthy way the floor holds you, the way fabric gathers and lets go as you breathe. Let these ordinary details become teachers louder than shame. Teacups don't audition to be cups. They are useful because they exist and hold. You don't have to audition for your own care. You are useful to a day because you exist and you can hold your attention, your values, your kindness. Before we close, let's make a small map you can carry into the next tight corner. 5 words only, like stones across a creek. Notice, name, soften, choose, release. Notice the moment, name the trap, soften somewhere in the body, choose one kind inch, release the rest for now. It will not always feel elegant. Elegance is not the point. Repeatability is. Micro practice. 5-word map, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, say the 5 words inside as you breathe. Notice, name, soften, choose, release. Pair each with a tiny gesture, glance at your feet, whisper the trap, relax the jaw, pick an inch, exhale longer. If any step snags, linger on soften and let the others wait. You can pause anytime. Let the night gather around you like a shawl with a familiar weight. You are learning to step out of tight corners without shoving yourself. You are learning to put down the gavel and pick up a lamp. You are learning to let shame's favorite traps be doorways instead. Doorways that open into rooms furnished with compassion, clarity, and the sweet relief of letting go. May your perfectionism bow to purpose. May your kindness include your own life. May your delays shrink to one honest inch and then another. May your mind rest from its treadmills and step onto real ground. May your anger learn the clean language of needs. And when the old traps whisper their arguments, may you hear the night air at your window and remember you have choices now, small, human, merciful choices that change everything over time. Let the quiet of this hour feel like a soft courtyard. Perhaps a faint breeze slips under the door, smelling a little of night stones cooling. Maybe a neighbor's light clicks off somewhere and the room settles into its own hush. There is a calm pool of shadow near your feet, a small island of warmth where your hands rest. Let your awareness lie down beside these simple things. No expression to hold, no angle to defend. Your breath knows the path. Allow the inhale to arrive as if it has crossed a small garden to see you. Let the exhale lean a bit longer, like someone lingering at the doorway to say one last kind thing. If thoughts try to hustle, you can smile at their eagerness and give them a place to sit just to the side. You are not required to audition for peace. You are already in the courtyard. Tonight we lean more deeply into compassion and identity made light. Compassion in this house is not pity or performance. It is intelligent warmth. It looks at the truth and keeps the door open. Identity lightening is not erasing yourself. It is loosening the glue that makes every moment stick to the sentence, "This is me forever." Together they build a way of living where shame has nowhere to nest. We'll begin with the way you greet yourself when you do not meet your own hopes. Many people think kindness will make them complacent. Look closely. When you are cruel to yourself, do you improve? Or do you hide, delay, defend, and repeat the pattern in secret? Compassion is not soft permission for harm. It is the climate where honest change can breathe. In a warm climate, truth can grow roots. In a harsh climate, truth withers or grows thorns. Imagine a day when you snapped at someone you love. In the old pattern, the critic drags you into a courtroom and the sentence is shame. You call yourself names, then avoid eye contact, then perform exaggerated helpfulness to buy your way back. The Bond phrase. In the new pattern, compassion stands beside you and says, "That hurt them and it hurt you to do it." Clear seeing names it, "I spoke with edge." Accountability acts, "I will repair." Letting go stops the cycle of self-punishment so that repair can actually happen. The bond holds because you stayed human. Micro practice, compassionate audit, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, recall a small misstep from today. Name 3 parts with gentle accuracy: what I did, what it cost, what I can do next. Speak each in plain words without an insult. If your chest tightens, rest a hand there and let the next exhale be slower. You can pause any time. Identity lightening shows up in these audits as grammar. Shame uses nouns and absolutes. I am bad, I am hopeless, I am always this way. Compassion prefers verbs and time. I struggled this afternoon, I am learning to pause, I will try again tomorrow. Verbs leave doors open. Nouns slam them. Your future loves doors. There's a small scene I want to place in your hands. You are attending a gathering where, historically, you have shrunk yourself to fit. Old stories wake. Be invisible, earn space by entertaining, don't need anything. Before you enter, you touch the ground or feel your feet. You choose a value to carry like a lantern: kindness, honesty, curiosity. You set an intention to speak one clear sentence if you want to, and to rest if you don't. Inside the room, you remember, roles are hats. Tonight you may wear guest or friend, but under the hat you remain a breathing being. Your worth is not up for auction. When shame arrives to bargain, you hold your lantern up to see its face and say, I know you. I am not for sale. Micro practice. Lantern value 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, choose one value you want to carry into the next social space. Whisper it once. Imagine placing it like a small light in your chest. If tension rises, soften your jaw and let the practice go. You can pause any time. A short story from the old teachings told in simple language. A monk carried a heavy pail of water from the river. Another monk teased him. Why do you strain? Put the pail down if it hurts. The first replied, it hurts because I am holding it wrong, not because water is heavy. When I balance the weight in my hands and on my shoulder, I can walk far. Compassion and identity lightening are the rebalancing of the pail. Life is still life. But when you stop gripping your self-image with white knuckles, when you hold it more like a hat than a helmet, you can walk farther without bruising your own hands. Let's talk about the shame that hides in virtue, the kind that sneaks into caretaking, work ethic, honesty. You stay late again, not because it truly serves, but because you cannot tolerate the identity of someone who leaves on time. You edit the truth until it is palatable because the identity of someone who disappoints feels dangerous. You give until the well is dust because your identity is sewn to the dependable one. Compassion sees this not as sin but as a sign. Somewhere, safety was purchased with self-erase. The new way does not mock the virtue, it removes the shame thread. You can still be dependable and also say, I am finished for today. You can still be honest and also keep your dignity. You can still care for others and also sit down. Micro practice, dignity check 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, name one virtuous behavior you overplay. Ask, what would this look like with my dignity intact by 1 inch? Picture doing that version once this week. If fear rises, place a hand on your leg and lengthen the exhale. You can pause anytime. Craving, aversion, and confusion still visit here, of course. Craving wants to be seen as good at all times. Aversion pushes away the awkwardness of saying no early. Confusion blurs the line between care and compulsion. The countermoves remain the same. Compassion says, of course you want to be safe. Safety matters. Clear seeing asks, what serves truth and care here? Letting go invites you to lay down the costume when the play is over. There's a practical skill that belongs to compassion, internal protecting. It is the tone you use with yourself when a room grows sharp. In that tone you say inside, I am with you, we will move through this together. You might even orient your body slightly, angle your feet toward an exit, step back a half step, sip water, all tiny ways of telling your system that a guardian is present. When a guardian is present, shame has less room to posture. Micro practice, inner guardian posture 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, sit or stand with a small sense of readiness, soft knees, long back of neck, steady gaze. Whisper, I am with you. Imagine a tricky moment and keep the posture. If it feels like too much, release into your most comfortable position and return to easy breath. You can pause any time. Identity lightening can also be trained with play. Play is the opposite of shame's rigidity. Draw a wobbly circle and call it a moon. Sing one line off-key on purpose. Write a message with too few adjectives and send it kindly. These are not jokes. They are exercises in surviving imperfection. When the body learns that nothing explodes, it becomes braver in places that matter. Micro practice, small brave play 20 to 40 seconds. If it feels right, choose one playful wobble you'll allow in the next day, an unfiltered laugh, a doodle in a margin, a yes to dancing for one song, a plate that doesn't match. Smile at your own aliveness. If play feels far away, skip this for now and rest. You can pause any time. Let us walk into the terrain of memory with great softness. Some memories feel like names etched into stone. Shame says the carving cannot change. Compassion says stone weathers, lichen grows. New paths are cut nearby, people sit and rest their backs against it. You cannot rewrite the event. You can change the position from which you hold it. You can stand beside the you who was there and decide to be a better company now. You can be the person you needed. Micro practice, be the company 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, bring to mind a younger version of you in a hard moment. Stand beside them in imagination, slightly behind and to the left like a quiet guardian. Say one believable line, I won't leave, we'll learn together. You don't have to be impressive to be protected. If activation rises, step back to the present room and count 3 neutral objects you can see. You can pause any time. Another way compassion and identity lightening meet is in language around capacity. I should be able to handle this dissolves into my capacity is lower tonight. I will scale my plan. This is not defeat. This is the wisdom that keeps you honest and steady enough to care again tomorrow. Capacity changes like weather. Identity does not have to be entangled with the forecast. Micro practice, capacity scale 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, rate your capacity for effort tonight on a gentle scale from 1 to 10. Choose a matching next step. If it's a 3, choose a 3-sized action. Whisper, matching keeps me kind. If scales feel unhelpful, drop them and feel the weight of your body instead. You can pause any time. We can tell the old parable of the 2 arrows in a new light. The first arrow is the event, the mistake, the rejection, the sudden change. The second arrow is self-cruelty, the sentence that declares you unworthy. Compassion reaches up and catches the second arrow mid-flight. That is not denial, it is skill. Identity lightening adds a twist. Sometimes there is a third arrow, the shame that you felt shame. Tonight, even that is noticed and set down. You are not a bad practitioner. You are a person practicing. In conversations, compassion plus light identity sounds like humility without collapse. You can say, I missed it, and your shoulders do not fold. You can say, I need a pause without downgrading your worth. You can say, I disagree and remain open. You can say, I'm proud of this and not translate pride into a crime. All of these are skills. Skills grow in climates, and you are building such a climate now. Micro practice, humble spine 30 to 50 seconds. If it feels right, sit with your spine gently long and your belly soft. Speak a simple sentence aloud. I was wrong on that point, or I'm happy with what I made. Hear your voice in this posture. If saying it out loud is too much, imagine the sound. You can pause anytime. Sometimes compassion is deciding not to enter the cage match in your head. You may think you owe yourself an argument every time shame bangs on the door. You do not. You can let the banging be noise while you wash a cup. You can walk around the block with the banging in your pocket and not answer. You can lie down and let a blanket be the reply. This is not avoidance. It is choosing the terrain of your battles. Many thoughts lose interest when denied an audience. Micro practice. No cage match, 20 to 35 seconds. If it feels right, picture the inner argument as a flashy poster on a wall. Walk past it in your imagination without stopping. Do one small physical gesture now: touch the table, rub your palms, adjust your pillow. Whisper, "Not tonight." If it stirs more noise, return to the sound of your breath. You can pause any time. We will weave compassion into a practical plan for the next difficult conversation. Before it begins, you choose your lantern value. You decide one boundary sentence and one bridge sentence. A boundary sentence protects, like, "I can talk for 20 minutes and then I need to rest." A bridge sentence connects, like, "I want us both to feel understood. Can we take turns?" During the talk, you keep an inner hand on your shoulder. After, you do a small ritual to release the residue: water on the hands, one slow breath at the door frame, a note to yourself that says stayed steady enough. These small moves teach your bones that you are a safe person to live with. Micro practice. Boundary and bridge, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, write or imagine one boundary sentence and one bridge sentence for a conversation you care about. Read them inside once. Feel your feet. If your body heats, set the practice down and find 3 colors in the room. You can pause any time. Identity grows lighter when you make friends with silence. Shame loves to fill the space with apologies and explanations. Silence protects dignity. In a meeting, you can stop after your clean sentence and let the room breathe. With a friend, you can listen without fixing, and your presence is the medicine. Alone, you can sit for 3 breaths with no input and remember you exist without performing. Micro practice. 3 quiet breaths, 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, close your eyes or lower your gaze. Take 3 slow, ordinary breaths with nothing to add. If the mind throws confetti, let it fall. You are not the party planner. You can pause any time. As we move toward rest, notice any place in you that still tries to hold the whole world together by tension. Offer that place a different job, not holding but feeling. Feeling warmth where a blanket touches. Feeling cool air near a cheek. Feeling the simple kindness of being in a room that does not demand genius. When you feel, the grip loosens on its own, bit by bit. Before closing this part, bring to mind someone you are tempted to judge harshly, perhaps yourself from earlier today. Place them at the edge of your courtyard. Do not invite them in if it feels unsafe. Simply nod to them as a fellow traveler. Say inside, "May we both be free from needless shame. May we both remember our values. May we both set down what we do not need to carry." Compassion does not require agreement. It requires recognition. Life is heavy, and we are learning to hold it better. Micro practice. Courtyard blessing, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, repeat the wish above once more, then let the image dissolve. If it stirs too much, return to your breath and the real objects around you. You can pause any time. Feel the night or the quiet morning lay its hand on your shoulder. You are not your worst day. You are not your brightest day either. You are the field that holds them and keeps growing. Compassion waters that field. Identity lightening removes the fence posts that once kept you penned in a small story. The 3 frictions will come, your countermoves are ready. Craving will ask you to be perfect. You will serve the purpose instead. Aversion will beg you to hide. You will stay 1 inch longer safe enough. Confusion will fog the windows. You will wipe a small circle clear and see what matters now. May the courtyard remain open inside you as you rest. May your breath keep practicing the gentle art of returning. May your name inside your own mind be spoken like a friend, S. And when shame walks the road looking for a place to sleep, may it find your gate closed to cruelty and open to truth. A simple house where dignity sits at the table, compassion cooks, and letting go knows when to turn out the lights. Let the last stretch of this journey begin in a gentle way. Imagine the softest blue of early morning gathering behind your curtains, or if it is night where you are, picture a quiet lane washed in moonlight. A coolness touches the skin where the blanket doesn't reach. The room is a faithful companion, a chair with your shape, a mug that remembers your hand, a window that keeps its promise to show the sky. Feel how your body settles into this ordinary sanctuary. Nothing to perform, nothing to prove. Only the simple fact of being here. Let your breath move like a slow tide turning. The inhale arrives the way the first birds call before daylight. The exhale unrolls like a small wave that has decided to come all the way home. If it feels right, soften the space between your eyebrows and let the back of your neck lengthen by a thread. Your jaw can go off duty. Your hands can be heavy in a comforting way. If thoughts gather, let them perch on a fence at the edge of the field. You do not need to chase them or send them away. The field is yours. We have walked together through many rooms of practice. We've sat beside shame without letting it choose the furniture. We've tuned the string until it sang a kinder note. We've practiced repair and release, empty boats and clean sentences, small rituals and steady boundaries. We've watched the 3 frictions do their dance, craving pulling you forward, aversion pulling you back, confusion spinning the compass, and we've learned the countermoves that return you to dignity. Tonight, we gather these threads into something wearable, a shawl you can put over your shoulders when the air changes. Start by noticing how far you've already come in these quiet visits. It might be subtle. Perhaps the breath lengthens sooner when you invite it. Perhaps a hand now knows its way to your chest without a command. Perhaps you can hear shame's voice and recognize it like a familiar traveler on the road nodding, not hosting. Progress in this house is not a firework. It is a path made by many patient steps. Trust the path you've made. I'd like to place one more story in your hands, not as a spectacle but as a simple lantern. There was a gardener who kept a small pond behind their home. For months the water was cloudy with stirred silt. The gardener tried to scoop the water clean and only made it murkier. One evening, an elder neighbor visited, sat on the low stone wall and said, "Leave the water, stop stirring, tend the banks." The gardener spent days repairing the edges, planting rushes to hold the soil, smoothing the stones so feet wouldn't slip in, letting leaves be carried away by the slow surface current instead of being chased. They did not attack the pond. They tended its boundaries. In time, the water cleared itself. What changed was not the water's nature, but the way it was held. This is the shape of your work now. Tend the banks. The banks are the daily choices that keep your inner world from being constantly stirred. The first minute after waking, the kind interruption before you spiral, the plain words that keep a conversation honest, the small rituals that release residue from your nervous system. When you tend the banks, the water in you can clarify without being fought. If it feels right, let your attention rest on the sensation of your back, the width of it, the way it is supported. There is a dignity in being held like this. The floor or mattress does not keep a ledger. The support is offered without accounting. You are learning to offer yourself that kind of welcome, not as a reward after excellence, but as the climate where honesty and care grow. Micro practice. Tend the banks 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose one bank you will tend for the next few days, the first minute after waking, the doorway pause before email, the evening release at the sink, the gentle posture that says guardian instead of prosecutor. Name it quietly. Picture the step you'll take when the moment arrives. If this stirs pressure, call it a friendly experiment and let your body settle back into the room. You can pause any time. As we complete this arc, it's helpful to bow to the 3 frictions one more time, just enough to remember their faces. When craving visits and insists that peace is on the other side of a perfect you can answer with purpose and presence. When aversion snarls, telling you to hide from your own tenderness or from the next truth you need to speak, you can stay one breath longer than you used to, safe enough. When confusion fogs the glass, you can wipe a small circle clear with 2 facts and 1 next step. These are not grand gestures. They are the small revolutions that build a different life. You might be wondering what it looks like to carry this into a season with heavier weather, deadlines, illness in the family, a heart that's grieving. Here is the honest answer. The practices shrink to fit your capacity and still count. When life tightens, the middle way becomes narrower and even more essential. The string still needs tuning, just more often and more gently. 10 quiet seconds at the sink become a temple. 1 clean sentence becomes a bridge across a hard conversation. A 2-degree, warmer voice toward yourself becomes the reason you can keep going. Remember also that your worth does not ride on the steadiness of your practice. You will forget and then remember. You will react and then repair. You will set down the raft and then find it tied to your shoulder again. This is not failure. This is human rhythm. The point is not to become someone who never wobbles. The point is to become someone who knows how to meet the wobble without breaking your own heart. Let us visit ordinary scenes one last time and watch how an identity held lightly changes their weight. You are asked to share an update before you feel ready. In the old script, shame reads a verdict and your voice shrinks to a whisper or rushes to overcompensate. In the new script, you feel your feet, choose a lantern value clarity, and offer 1 honest paragraph. If you need more time, you say so like someone who belongs. Here, what's complete. I'll bring the next piece Friday. You leave the room without replaying every inflection. The hat was presenter. You wore it. You set it back on the hook. You receive feedback that stings. In the old script, the second arrow flies, you strike yourself with names, and the body tightens for hours. In the new script, you notice the heat in your cheeks, touch earth with your palm, and ask inside, what is useful here, what is extra? You take the useful part like a tool. You let the extra part pass by like weather. You are not chiseling your name into a stone with this moment. You are learning, and learning has a mess to it. You are allowed the mess. You come home tired and the house is loud with undone things. In the old script, you try to buy belonging by hustling while resenting. In the new script, you choose 1 decent action sized for your capacity, then you rest without a receipt. The dishes may still be there tomorrow. Your life will still be yours tomorrow. The dignity is here now. Micro practice. Decent action 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, think of a situation that often tempts you into self-attack. For 3 breaths, name 1 decent action, not heroic, that honors your values and your energy. Whisper it once and let the shoulders settle. If nothing arrives, your decent action can be to rest for 2 minutes and then look again. You can pause any time. There is a kind of blessing that grows when you speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend who is trying. Not a friend you idealize, but a real friend who is learning in public, stumbling, repairing, laughing, crying, paying bills, holding others, forgetting, remembering. Imagine that friend sitting where you sit. What would you hope their inner voice sounds like? Offer yourself those words now. They do not have to be poetic. I am with you. We'll take one step. We'll rest. We'll try again. This is the sound of a life shifting. A final short story for the road. Two travelers walked through a field at dusk. One kept staring at the mud on their shoes and swearing at it. The other occasionally looked down to avoid a deep patch, then lifted their gaze to the line where the sky met the earth, watching the colors change. Both arrived at the village. One arrived exhausted and angry at the mud. The other arrived tired and strangely grateful for the ground that held them. The field was the same. The difference was where they placed their eyes and how they spoke to themselves while walking. Tonight, lift your gaze when you can. Look down when you must. Speak to yourself as a companion on the same road. Bring attention back to your breath and let it become even more quiet, like the ocean at night when the surface looks still and the whole body of water is moving in honest, slow ways. Feel the places where you are held, the pillow under your head, the sheet, the mattress, the solid ground beneath it all. Let the room breathe with you. Walls do that in their own way. They hold, they echo, they keep weather at a distance. You can be like that to yourself, a room that holds. Micro practice, blessing breath 40 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, pair the breath with a simple wish for the next in-breath and the next out-breath. Inhale, may I be gentle. Exhale, may I let go. Or inhale, may clarity find me. Exhale, may shame soften. If words feel like too much, drop them and keep only the slow, kind rhythm. You can stop at any time. We have spoken often of repair and of the courage it takes to offer it. If there is someone you intend to meet with a steadier heart, let your mind place them on a bench across from you, in a safe and quiet place. See the way wind moves through nearby leaves. Feel your own spine lengthen and your belly soften. Imagine saying what is true in one plain paragraph, then stopping. Imagine listening and keeping your dignity, whether the response is soft or sharp. See yourself walking away afterward with a hand on your own shoulder, murmuring, "You stayed human." Let that be enough for now. The world changes when humans stay human. When you wake from this rest, whether in an hour or after a night, the practices will still be here, not as rules but as tools. The clean sentence, the two facts and one step, the tiny repair, the good enough send, the empty boat, the lantern value, the boundary and the bridge, the set it down gesture, the guardian posture, the 3 pebbles, the 5-word map. You don't need all of them at once. Choose one as the day asks for it. Let the others sit on the workbench until needed. Trust your hands to reach for the right tool more and more often. And if there comes a day when everything feels lost again, remember the pond. Do not thrash, tend the banks, drink water, name what is present without insult. Ask for help if asking feels right. Step outside and let the sky widen your scale. Place a warm hand where your body hurts. Whisper the line that has followed us through these nights. I am learning to be on my own side. Learning means you are allowed to be in progress. Learning means you are already brave. Let the world narrow now to the smallest comforts, the even pull of breath, the weight that tells you gravity is doing its old job, the faint sound of a distant street, the hush of a home that wants you to rest. If sleep comes, let it take you like a tide you don't have to steer. If wakefulness lingers, rest inside it the way you de-rest against a tree, feeling the slow sap of life moving whether or not you feel productive. Before we close, I'll place a blessing in the room and let it soak into the walls and into you. May you remember the difference between punishment and accountability, choosing the one that makes repair possible. May you grow fluent in plain words and clean pauses. May your standards be born from care and your boundaries arrive early and kind. May craving lose its grip. May aversion loosen its fists. May confusion clear just enough for the next step. May your inner voice become a guardian you trust. May the rafts you once needed be set down when the river is behind you. May you belong to yourself without conditions. May you find yourself, again and again, tending the banks. And if you forget, as humans do, may the forgetting be short, the remembering be gentle, and the path back be marked by the smallest lights. A cup filled, a window opened, a sentence spoken honestly, a hand on your own shoulder, a laugh you let out without editing. The world will still be here, so will you. Rest now, dear friend. Let the breath carry the rest of the words away. Let the body be heavy enough to be held. Let the mind set its bag down at the door. You have practiced. You have learned. You have honored what is real. May the night cradle you. May morning, when it comes, meet a quieter house inside your chest. And may you walk into your days with a shawl of kindness about your shoulders, light with yourself, steady with others, free enough to keep choosing love over the old story.